What's up, everybody? It's your boy, the Italian Stallion, here for another episode of Rebels with a Cause. You know what time it is, baby. It is 9:30 Wednesday night, and it's time for that cause, because that cause don't stop when the clock hits zero. Got a great show for you tonight with a really fun panel and a guest that I've been wanting to come back on. He was a previous guest on the show, and now he's going to be a panelist talking about something he knows a lot about. And I can't wait to hear his list as well as the other guys that you've seen before as they jump on. But, got to do some housekeeping stuff first before we get here, because, we're so close. We got two-a-days already starting. They're about to start for some teams. We've transitioned from that 7-on-7 to now it is go time. It's the third quarter about to start, like our resident coach Shane O'Mac says. And we're transitioning from them 7-on-7s to those scrimmages to then we got the jamboree, and then it is go time, baby. We are a month away from today, from that first weekend of high school football. The 23rd falls on a Saturday. Games are going to be played that Friday, that Saturday. It just feels just like that first weekend of NFL when you got a Thursday through Monday slate, or you got a college football slate from Thursday through Monday, that Labor Day. You know what I'm saying? But it's here, and I can't wait to talk about it. But to bide the time, we're going to go on ahead and discuss, that topic of the greatest running backs of all time. But before we get into that, got a little bit of housekeeping things. I did want to mention, just for old time's sakes, that the views program are not affiliated with those of any other organization or of Knoxville West High School. These are our views. Also, if you are in that chat box, please point out if we've inaccurately said something in air, but also voice your opinions tonight. We want to know who you thought was a great running back and why. Maybe you don't agree with our list of who we think is the greatest. And, greatest can mean so many things. Are you talking about a running back that potentially could just take a game over? Or are you talking about a guy that was just unstoppable? Or are you going to even talk about that guy that could have had that career, but just bad luck happened? We talked about basketball players whose lives or careers ended early for insignificant, surreal reasons. Same thing happens for football players and athletes in any sport for that matter. But the most important thing is that you at least get to chime in that opinion of what made them so special. More than anything, maybe they were just a career person that just got blessed not getting injured. Others made a mark in just a short time before a major injury stopped their career, and what could have been even then. So can't wait to have that discussion. We're going to have a fun show tonight. Also, got to give some love to some of our sponsors. Got to give it to my girl, Kim Castle. Been open a year now at King's Chamber. Her new stylist, I believe, is starting this week. Can do some things that maybe Miss Kim has not offered before with the braids and things of that nature. But listen, the same thing goes. The treatment, the royal treatment at the chamber. Call. She books up fast. Closed Monday and Tuesday, through Sunday. Get you a tasty beverage. Get you treatment there, whether it's a haircut, beard trim, anything that will make you feel good and also contribute a local business there. Miss Kim Castle, let them know Rebels with a Cause sent you. Maybe she'll get you a little discount too. Also, got to give some love to a guy I got to see this weekend for a mini reunion, class of 2003 grad, Mr. Alex Thatcher, and his Knoxville Coffee Company right there off of Sutherland Avenue in the heart of Marble City. That brew is good any time of the day. And listen, even if it's summertime, you still got them long early mornings. Definitely go hit him up. That coffee is delicious, and let them know Rebels with a Cause sent you. Also, got to give some love to Razor Shop Barbershop of Knoxville. Fink or Corey, let them know that 332 Studios, Two Pair Tape, Brian Tate, as well as the guys at Rebels with a Cause told you to go go pay them a visit, and they'll get you taken care of with their style. And speaking of 332 Studios, got to give them a follow. They've got some exciting things going on over there. Now that football is here, can't wait to see what content they produce along with the other things they have been doing. So Big Fact Sports Network, follow them, 332 Studios on YouTube. Got a couple of house personal notes. Give a Rest in peace to Ozzy Osbourne, who left us very early at 76 years of age. If anybody's not watched the special YouTube where he performed with some greats, he sounded amazing, and it was almost like he knew that that swan song was going to happen. But we lost a, rock and roll legend, and prayers to his family. I know that he was very, very entertaining those early 2000s, even finding a way to reinvent himself after just being Ozzy or with Black Sabbath, gets his family involved in a show, the Osbournes, that was really big part of pop culture on MTV, and even has had some shows with his son traveling around and looking at spooky places. So the guy just always made himself relevant. Big time influence on so many bands and so many musicians, and definitely had a repertoire that is definitely appreciated and will be missed. But the wonderful thing about people like actors and musicians, even though they're gone, the films and the masterpieces will live on in infamy. So just something to appreciate them when they're no longer with us. I want to give a shout out to our former Rebel football players and the best of luck in college, whether they've already started their careers playing ball or starting their next step. Some guys right off the top of my head: Wyatt DeRoche, Pork Chop being over there at Maryville. Got to give some loves to James Mills doing the JUCO thing, and obviously Antoine is going away party this Sunday. I hope I can make an appearance and wish him well in his next step. And for all the Rebels that have recently graduated and were a part of these babies behind me, I just wish you all the best, whether in the academics, the athletics. This is your time, and remember that cause don't stop when the clock hits zero, and you got to make that cause special for whatever you do. And don't forget where you came from. You were a graduate of West High School, and no one can take that away from you. Also, to the West football team, especially the seniors, good luck this year. Have an amazing season, guys. This is it. Whether if you're blessed that your career continues in the next level, terrific. For some of you, this is it. So you got to really make it count. I hope that I know that it's a rough game, but may the pads protect you, and just leave it all out there on the field, guys. Whether it's the last play or the first play of a great season. So I wish you all the best of luck, as well as all the other high schools. And their players, as long as you're just not playing West. So I'll just leave it right at that. So, but with that being said, let's get this party started. So the question is, are the GOATs when it comes to running backs? And I've got an exciting panel, as I mentioned before, that I want to bring on. So if you're watching this live or recorded, please give them the dap that they deserve, and just respect our opinions. Remember, we're just as all in good fun. We love talking sports. I look forward to this every week, and to be blessed to be having this discussion with this group of guys, I couldn't be happier. But anyway, let's bring them on. First, you know him as our resident coach and stats guy. He has been with us from practically the beginning, and who better to let us know what is good talent at all three levels, because he's watched a lot of football over the years and has now recently coached it. So put your hands together, give him the love he deserves. The one, the only, Mr. Shane O'Mac. How you doing, baby?
Man, another long night. Best practice we've had of the year. I'm excited to be here tonight. We're talking about my favorite position because it's my former position tonight. So I am ready to go.
I love it. I love it. And I can't wait to hear what your criteria is, and the lists and the names, and it's going to be amazing. I can't wait to get it going. So next up,
I will make one more statement real quick.
Sure, absolutely.
So in about 2 months now, I will be leaving Knoxville.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
Oh wow.
So
Well,
I'm publicly saying that now. Only a few people know, but at the end of this football season, I will be moving to Middle Tennessee with my son.
wow. Well, I will tell you this. The beautiful thing about this show is you got a computer, you got an internet connection, you will always be a part of it, because we've got guests from Louisiana coming on. I
Yep.
think we can accommodate Middle Tennessee. And I know we talked on Saturday at that reunion, and you're not that far away, bud. You can always come visit. So
Yeah, it's about an hour, 15 hour and a half drive. I'll be in between Knoxville and Nashville.
Yeah.
I'll still be around. Just got to do what's best for my son. So
Absolutely, brother. Well, like I said, huge breaking news right there, honestly, and we'll just got to enjoy this football season while we have you, bud. So simple as that. Next up, you know him as Big Game Carey. But before I bring him on, why was he Big Game Carey? Because he probably has watched some of the talent we're going to talk about when we mention high school running backs, but also he's watched a lot of football over the years, the college and professional level. So I'm sure he knows what's good. And hell, he had some of the best running backs I saw for one of his favorite NFL teams, the Bills. And I hope that at least one of them gets mentioned, but not the one you'd think that we're going to mention, but still one that I think is a really underrated back that really was in the discussion of those great Bills teams that went to 4 straight Super Bowls. But I know he's got a lot to discuss. But love that he's on the show as a panelist. Love his opinions. Give him the respect he deserves. Big Game Carey Reeves. How you doing, baby?
I'm doing great tonight. It's an honor to be on with you guys as always, and I'm looking forward to this. This is going to be a great discussion tonight. So
I agree.
One of my favorite positions of all time is running backs. This is going to be a whole lot of fun.
Oh, yeah. Speaking of which, I did play scout team running back once, and I took a hit from Chris Ernst and Michael Lynn, and whether I was at Bearden at West, and I thought to myself, you know what? That's why I want to go back to wide receiver. I don't want to get hit by these guys. Yep. So, But anyway, no, this is going to be a great discussion. And now for our mystery guest. Who better to discuss running backs than a guy that's coached them? Who's groomed them? I have seen him take guys that you would just look at and be like, that's a running back, and he has made them into 1,000-yard rushers. He's played the position. He has made state champion type players at that position. And I'm so blessed and honored he could be on, because I know his schedule is about to just get like crazy busy, and I'm glad that I could get him on for this discussion. Everybody, bring it up for a class of 94, former guest and a great assistant coach at Farragut High School, former assistant coach at West, state champion of the 2014 West Rebels, the one, the only, Coach Mark Giles at Farragut High School, baby.
Glad to be here. Yeah. And it's 96, not 94.
Oh, is it really? Okay. All right. Gotcha.
Not that old. So.
Okay. But you were on the 94 team. You were on the 94
That was my junior year.
Okay. So. Gotcha. So you were
all my cousins have played for Farragut. All of my cousins.
Really?
That's right. That's right. They have. So, yeah.
Let's see. Dustin Bolin, Austin Bolin, Chance Bolin. Now, Dustin, I think one of Dustin's kids might be on the team.
Might be on the team right now?
Yeah. You got any Bolins?
Maybe a freshman.
Okay, that would maybe make sense. I know he's got 2 boys. I'm bad about keeping track of my family. Austin was there when they won the state championship. There was the backup long snapper for Tennessee.
Oh, really?
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
Yeah.
Huh.
I was lucky enough to watch my younger brother play for Bearden, and I had 2 cousins that played for West. One was a running back, one was defensive back. So I've seen a lot of football over the years. So
absolutely,
it's been a lot. It's going to be a lot of fun.
Well, Coach, thanks for being on, because I know how busy you guys are in the middle of two-a-days. How's the team looking this year for Farragut? And what are you looking forward to now that football's almost here? I know you guys, the coaches especially, are really inkling for it at this point.
Yeah, we're in the thick of things right now. Tomorrow morning we'll be up, 7 to 10, another shells practice and workouts, and I think this group of kids at Farragut has a shot to surprise some people, and I think we've had the ability to be good the last couple of years and have been surprising in different games. But let's just be honest. In comparison to how Farragut has been in the past, we've been a little mediocre, and so I think this group is trying to get over that hump and getting back to the standard that has been set at Farragut to win, most of your ball games, 7, 8, 9 games in a regular season, and that's always with a tough schedule. But again, our first 5 games, it's just a juggernaut. You've got Sevier County, you've got Powell, you've got Upperman. Upperman might have their best team that they've ever had. Obviously, a lot is returning for Sevier County. So, and then Maryville's in that mix as well. So, there's those first 5 games are pretty tough.
Coach, where is Upperman located?
Baxter, Tennessee.
Say that again.
Baxter, Tennessee.
Yep.
Okay, around Gainsborough.
That's where I'm moving.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
That's ironic, right there.
That's very ironic.
Yeah, I've got a connection with the school board out there, and trying to get a coaching position if there's one next year out there. So.
Okay,
that's awesome.
You're in my prayers for that. So yeah.
Well, I might see you. I might see you that we play in the next 2 years. So
yeah, we'll see what happens. Fingers crossed.
Coach, I know that you guys, had a big transition last year and so forth, but it looks like even with that schedule, you've got a really promising, season ahead of you guys. If you can, maybe steal some victories, there's a lot to be said about momentum. Real quick, the one thing that I did want to mention is that it sucks that how the regions have shaped up, and now with the schedules, I hate that West and Farragut aren't going to play, because that's been a fun rivalry these last few years, whether Farragut was on the winning end or West and so forth.
Right.
So
I obviously I'll miss it as well. Just I love going to West. So so I'll definitely miss it. And I think it'll be back in a couple of years, but they just couldn't work out a game. This particular Lamar and Jeff tried to get it worked out, and they couldn't get a particular game worked out. And so, we just added Sevier County and
I will never forget the scrimmage we had during spring practice against Farragut. A full-out brawl broke out on the practice field.
Oh, wow.
But what was worse was I took my helmet off and swung it, not realizing I hit my cousin. Our grandfather is there watching it.
This sounds like a Major League 2 fight or something like that. So out of the dugouts.
He sees me swing, because Dustin was taller than me, but I was always the more stocky, stronger one. I swing, I hit him, not realizing it's him. My grandfather follows me home from practice. It was like, you know what your grandma's going to do to me? You know what she's going to do to you? Her baby.
Oh, man.
I never heard the end of it for the rest of the year. It's like,
I can
never around Dustin. I'm going to
imagine.
I can only imagine. Wow. So, yeah.
But because we were doing Oklahoma's, and they got a little carried away, and we retaliated really quick.
Sounds like Farragut and West.
It does.
Well, back then, though, all you had to do, everybody was up at the top of the bleachers, looking down the practice field where the softball field's at now, so you could see everything. And of course, my grandfather had our numbers memorized, so he's like, "Oh, they're shaking. Oh, there's Dustin. Oh, God."
Wow. That's true, because that was on the practice field, and now it's the softball field at West.
Yep.
So, yeah, I mean, you're right.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I remember that. I tell my son that all the time. I'm like, dude, if I'm able to do that, you can do this.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. Larry Frank's going to be chiming in from the chat today, so always great to have his opinion, and definitely know he's seen some great running backs, whether down there in Louisiana as well as at the college and pro level. But let's get this debate started, guys. As I mentioned, who are the GOATs for when it comes to run? And the thing is football is such a unique sport that you have so many different positions that are crucial to a team's success. When you look at, basketball, yes, you have 5 guys on the court, but it seems more and more that if you're just a player that can play multiple positions, defend multiple positions, you get that status just as an overall great player, not so much at a position. But in football, you got to have a great line. Even if you don't have a great line, if you're that type of shifty back or a power back that can generate your own offense, I mean, congrats, because there's been a lot of guys on this list that maybe they didn't have that type of blessing, and that they didn't have a great line in front of them, and they still made something great out of nothing and so forth. But let's get it started. I want to start at the college level, because it seems like we have an audience that loves college football and who doesn't? I prefer it over the pros, but I'll still watch on Sundays. And again, the game has changed now to when it was back then. Remember, back then, running backs were like the horse. You rode that pony all the way, and now it seems like running backs don't get the love that they should deserve, and their careers are pretty much done by 30, and they're looking for the next best thing because everybody loves the spread, everybody loves the passing game.
Sure.
But I'm going to tell you this though. There's nothing more than a running back taking a handoff, and when they break it and they're gone and there's nothing but the wind behind their back, it's like, see ya. I love that. And that will never, ever change for me, no matter how this game continues to evolve. But that being said, Shane, I'm going to start with you right off the bat. Give me a couple of college running backs. They don't necessarily have to be at UT. They could be anywhere that you have seen over time, whether you've seen highlights from before you were watching football religiously to even now. Who stands out to you as some of the great college running backs?
Here's my top 5. Archie Griffin, Reggie Bush, Ricky Williams, Bo Jackson, Barry Sanders. And that's in no particular order. That's my top 5. That's like 1 through 5A. But all legit beast. Change the game. You can even throw in why am I forgetting his name? Played for the Vikings. Went to Oklahoma.
Oh, Adrian Peterson.
Adrian Peterson, yeah.
Hey, Pete, yeah.
AP.
Yeah. Chatbox agrees with you on 2 right off the bat. Got to say Archie Griffin, the only 2-time Heisman winner of all time.
Yep.
Obviously, you got to mention Bo Jackson. Man amongst boys.
I can go on for days. I can probably list off 15.
Yeah,
but just those right there. I mean, you want Earl Campbell, freaking Jim Brown, Ernie Davis, Dan Thomason, Marshall Faulk, OJ. Shit. I mean,
yeah, OJ has to be on there.
OJ's got to be on there. So, yeah.
I don't care if he sliced and diced. He also sliced and diced on the field.
Yeah. Well, here's the other thing too. And it's funny that you mentioned something. The criteria too, and we all have different reasonings for the list. Shane, if you can just delve a little bit deeper, what made you select those 5? Was it a special season that stood out to you, or are you looking at the 3 or 4 years, whether they stayed in college?
It's everything about the way they ran the ball, saw the field, delivered the punishment on the field. Like you weren't going to tackle them. You weren't going to stop them. They were going to change the game. You let them take over. They're doing their thing. Even if the offense ran, you knew the offense was running to them. You weren't going to stop them. It just wasn't going to happen. Like they changed the game of football each time. And they made the position better. It is what it is. It's my favorite position. Wish my kid was bigger so I could make him a running back, but unfortunately he's a receiver and a DB. So
absolutely.
Hopefully he grows in high school.
Yeah, hopefully. Right now he's a whole 5 foot 82 pounds. So he's in 7th grade.
Well, he was eating like a horse on Saturday, so
he's killing me right now with how much he eats.
Yeah, exactly. Larry had some other names that were interesting, and I was actually going to mention this guy because we mentioned Ricky Williams, and Coach, I'm not going to take anything from you because I know what a big fan you are of Ricky, and I'll let you talk about him. But I'm going to list these names right here because a couple of them were on my what if list, by the way. A couple of them were. Kajana Carter, who finished second in the Heisman and was a great tailback at Penn State University. Curse of the Bengals, man. We talked about the Bengals last week. Curse of the Bengals, man. Ron Dane, who I felt like he was like at Wisconsin for 8 years, but he legitimately was there for 4 years and really put Wisconsin and Barry Alvarez on the map during that time. So we already mentioned Archie Griffin. Earl Campbell,
one of my favorites.
8 solid seasons, and who knows what would have happened with injuries. I had mentioned him. The great Herschel Walker. I mean, come on, Herschel Walker, who before Georgia is Georgia now, was the only thing about Georgia for many years and so forth like that.
Watched him run over Bill Bates at Neyland Stadium when I was 10.
Yep.
He should have won multiple Heismans.
Yes, I should have.
They didn't let him win as a sophomore or a freshman then.
And it's a shame.
Yeah. Yeah, because honestly, I think Archie would have had some company with him, honestly. So, yeah. Tony Dorsett, the great Pittsburgh running back, absolutely out of Pitt. And then not to mention Marcus Allen. Yeah, absolutely. You got to mention Marcus Allen. So, yeah, the stable of tailbacks also, you could almost go into a discussion that certain colleges can make that claim for RBU. You know what I mean, type of a thing, but they had different eras of what they did, and you have to almost do that criteria. Is it because they were successful in the pros, or was it because they were successful that delivered national championships in college? You know what I mean, that type of thing. You mentioned Reggie Bush, or Heisman's, exactly. I mean, you mentioned Reggie Bush, Shane, and I'll tell you this: what Pete Carroll did during that time, whether they were paying players or not, who gives a shit? But what I'm saying is,
the whole time, whatever you want to call it.
Yeah, the thing is that, like, if you were the running back, I used to look at Athlon Sports, or rather, I guess it was the old Rivals.com, and then I forget who Scout got bought out, but anyway. You look at what USC had during that time. They had Lendell White. They had Reggie Bush. They had Herschel Dennis before he had injuries because he was a big running back. And then only to then be turned around that they start getting guys like Emmanuel Moody, who was a top running back, Stephon Johnson, CJ Gable. These running backs were big time in high school. I don't know what the hell happened when they got to USC. But it's like, I looked at it and I'm like, well, they all can't play, but they're all going to USC to be the next Reggie Bush and so forth.
Well, but again, Alabama had that backfield of got everybody. So.
Yeah, I mean, and that's the thing. And there was only one ball to go around. But I just you mentioned Reggie Bush, and I used to think about it. It's like, man, that guy would look great in Tennessee Orange, and so forth. But they're all going to USC for whatever reason. So, but there's that. So, Coach, you've waited patiently. I wanted to get your backs at this level, and then Kerry, I want to go next to you after Coach. So
you got it.
Okay. Again, in no particular order, I'm glad you guys said Ricky Williams off the bat because there's a game-used Saints helmet, a game-used Dolphins jersey, and Dolphins face mask, and a big picture of Ricky back there. So I'm a huge Ricky Williams fan, and it all started at Texas. I think his career in college was incredible. I mean, he started out as a fullback and then had a couple of 1,000-yard seasons as a fullback and then transitioned to being moved to tailback. And then, of course, had that Heisman year that everybody, if you were alive back then and watched football, it's what a Heisman season should look like. And obviously Herschel, if you grew up in Georgia, you know who in the 80s and the 90s, you know who Herschel Walker is. He was everything to football. And like I said, he probably should have won multiple Heismans. If he doesn't go to the USFL, he probably has a ton of records in the NFL. Between the NFL and the USFL, he's got over 15,000 yards.
Wow.
But, he's only got about 8,000 in the NFL, which is why he probably won't be in the Hall of Fame, but probably deserves to. But when I think about other dudes, running backs, I think about O.J. Simpson. Yep. O.J. Simpson in college kind of rewrote the record books. He kind of started that whole lineage of USC having all these Heisman running backs. A guy none of us have seen play I'm going to mention is Red Grange. The Galloping Ghost. I read a book on him and have mad respect for that guy. If you go back to his college career and then his pro career, he was really way back in the day like a Babe Ruth style running back. So I would challenge anybody to go read a book called The Galloping Ghost about Red Grange. He had a ton.
He played in the 20s, right?
Yes, and had a ton of just unbelievable college football game, 200-yard games, and And then I would throw Doak Walker in there, who the
Oh,
the
yeah.
Doak Walker.
Oh yes,
award named after.
the award's literally named after him. So
Yeah, the award's named after him, so I throw him in there. And then when I think about guys that again had Heisman type seasons, I think about Barry Sanders.
Mhm.
I think about Bush revolutionizing football time at USC. He was a different style running back, but was everything you wanted in a running back. And then I think about CMC too at Stanford. Man, I loved watching him. He actually broke Sanders' all-purpose yardage record, but then you had Derrick Henry that won the Heisman that year because he had 2,000 yards in the SEC. So you had Derrick Henry and McCaffrey, and I think Derrick always felt like CMC should have won the Heisman that year. I know they had that conversation and they had a huge mutual respect for each other. But then the last thing I'll mention about college running backs is I would mention duos, and Tennessee's had some of the best duos and trios. You've had Aaron Hayden and James Stewart and Charlie Garner. Then the national championship year, you had Jamal Lewis, Travis Henry, and Travis Stevens. I mean, and then I think about groups like Arkansas. When Arkansas had McFadden, Felix Jones, and Peyton Hillis at fullback, I mean, those were some freaking awesome offenses to watch because of those guys. And it I think about the Georgia teams, man. The Georgia teams the last couple of years, they've been loaded with guys that have ended up from Gurley to
Sony Michel. Sony Michel.
James Cook.
Yep. To who's the guy that's was with the Browns? Keeps getting hurt.
Nick Chubb.
I mean, you've had Nick Chubb in that mix, and there's a lot of guys.
All those running backs have had significant injuries that came out.
Yep.
I was at Neyland Stadium when Nick Chubb got hurt. It was like hearing a gunshot go off when his knee popped. You could hear it. It was that bad.
I had to go home and watch the footage because I couldn't see it from where my seats were. I was like, oh my God.
You didn't want to see it, man.
Yeah. Well, and the thing is Nick Chubb has also suffered a very gruesome NFL injury. I think with the same knee. So you're not really supposed to tear.
Those rare things the same sideline.
Yeah. Yeah,
it was it was almost identical.
Yeah, absolutely. Wow. So, yeah. Obviously, Larry, being a big Miami fan, you got to mention some of their running backs. Chuck Foreman, Otis Anderson, Melvin Bratton, Alonzo Highsmith. I'm going to touch on him when we get to another category that I will bring up. Obviously, Edgerrin James, who really kind of started the new running back for Miami during that time. I mean, it went from Edgerrin James to James Jackson to Clinton Portis to Willis McGahee to Frank Gore. Najee Davenport was supposed to be a tailback, got moved to fullback, and hell, even you have Walter Payton's son, Jarrett Payton, in there in the mix, and so forth like that had 1,000 yards when Frank Gore went down with his second ACL injury. So yeah, I mean,
Miami again is another great one. Duke Johnson and Frank Gore. And then I would even throw in, you got to look at Syracuse. Syracuse, you had Jim Brown, you had Ernie Davis, you had Larry Zonka, you have Rob Conrad. I mean, and they haven't treated. There used to be like a shrine to number 44.
Yes,
and used to be a big deal. Rob Conrad he went off on Twitter last year on the Syracuse people for not honoring the running back position the way it has, because all those guys wore 44.
Yeah, and he wore 44, and I remember him. Yeah,
my mom went to school with Ernie Davis at Syracuse. They have been friends for years. Yeah,
that's awesome.
She said pound for pound, he was probably the best football player she has ever seen, and she will swear by that.
Yeah,
that's cool.
And then Jim Brown. I mean,
Brown,
you look at Jim Brown. I mean, they don't. That's like something that was made out of a factory on NCAA when you're creating your own player. But it was like 40 years before that was even a thing, or what have you.
Could you imagine if he didn't retire at 32 to be an actor? If he had played about another 4 years,
it'd be untouchable.
The records would be unbreakable.
Yeah, it'd be unbreakable.
Oh, absolutely. Talking about also mentioned, we'll talk about the Alabama group and so forth,
Mhm.
because there's a guy there was a debate. We'll talk about like that college, high school level, because there are those guys that really you thought were going to be the next big thing from high school, and something just didn't happen. It just didn't transition for certain guys. You mentioned Derrick Henry, Coach Giles, right off the bat. Everybody thought Bo Scarborough was going to be the next Derrick Henry, and he had a good season, but he never could recover from that leg break that he suffered against Clemson in the national title game. And some people say that if he hadn't gotten hurt, there's a good chance Alabama goes for 3 in a row and doesn't lose that game to Clemson,
Yep.
because he was really in that first half before the leg injury, and he never really recovered from that. But a lot of people, when he was coming out of high school, it was either him or Kelvin Taylor, Fred Taylor's son, and so forth.
Yep.
But you never really heard much of those guys. So there's no guarantees of when you go from the college level to the NFL level, let alone the high school to the college level. These people rank these guys, and maybe you go into a bad system. You thought you were going to a good team, and maybe you just weren't used, and somebody's better, and the competition you're playing is better. So there's all sorts of factors that factor into that. But I'll get into the Alabama guys. You talk about a school that I think really low key has had some fantastic tailbacks at the college level. I don't know why they really have never transitioned to the NFL. Maybe it was the system that they were in, but damn, they were a pain in the ass every time you played them. Me being on the other end of those games, being a Miami fan, but you got to talk about the running backs that went through Virginia Tech at some point or another. I think about Lee Suggs. I think about Kevin Jones. I think about Darren Evans. I think about Ryan Williams, and I even think about David Wilson. And the last 3 guys I mentioned were all on the same team at the same time. I mean, you talk about a 3-headed monster, and the only reason that Ryan Williams and David Wilson got showcased was because of an injury to Darren Evans. So, I mean, that's just crazy. But I'll give you a couple of running backs that stand out to me in the college level. And obviously they transitioned even more so in the NFL game. Eddie George at Ohio State,
Yep.
just an absolute beast of a guy. And realistically, I feel like was the 90s version of a Jim Brown, to be honest with you, the way that he was built like a truck. I think about Jamal Lewis, came on the scene as a freshman. If he doesn't get hurt in that Auburn game, listen, Travis Henry and Travis Stevens were phenomenal running backs, but there was something about Jamal Lewis that was just very special. And the sad thing, he suffered, injuries, but still managed to have a very, very good career. You know what I mean? Type of a thing. And we'll get more in the NFL, but I just wonder what would have happened gotten hurt in that Auburn game in Tennessee's 98 season.
I really feel like Jamal's, sophomore year, if he doesn't get hurt, I think he wins the Heisman or comes close to it.
Mhm.
And it's the same way I felt about Robert Edwards at Georgia. If Robert Edwards at Georgia doesn't get hurt, he was the best player in college football by far. And I felt that way about Jamal at the same time. Sorry to cut you off.
Oh, no, you're not cutting me off at all. No, and I was going to mention him too. So
I have a funny Jamal Lewis story. So back in high school, just in middle school, maybe. My mom was friends with Jamal Lewis's roommate in college. He worked at the liquor store at the top of Bearden Hill.
Okay.
It was like Sequoia something. I don't remember what it was called. But I'm sitting in my room playing Madden. My mom yells for me. Come in the living room. Walk out my door. Turn to the left. There's Jamal Lewis standing in my living room.
Wow.
That's awesome.
Man.
That is cool.
Yeah, ironically, I was wearing my number 31 jersey.
Nice. It's a good story. So
yeah, I mean, like that's the day I fell in love with the running back position, because it's like holy shit, like Jamal Lewis is in my house. Holy shit.
That's cool. No, that's
It's the first time my mom ever heard me cuss. I didn't get in trouble.
Yeah.
Awesome.
It's funny
Jamal's
you mentioned
awesome.
that.
Yeah.
I mean, well, and you look at guys that had special seasons, and so forth, that maybe weren't considered a great college running back, but you think about to get 2,000 yards. I don't care where you play at or what level. I mean, that takes a special group of guys to do that and so forth. You mentioned, who was it that had that 2,000-yard season? Coach, you just mentioned him a second ago. That had a 2,000-yard season.
In college, or
in college. I think it was in college.
No, Barry Sanders had one.
Yeah, Barry. Yeah, we mentioned Barry. That's right, Barry. But I think of another guy that had a 2,000-yard season, and his career didn't really transition. But he was another Penn State guy, Larry Johnson. Larry Johnson.
Yeah.
And he got a break because of what happened to Priest Holmes, only to have an injury himself. I mean, that's a guy that really had a special season in college. I think of Travis Stevens. A lot of people were ready to put Cedric Houston or J Train or Derek Tinsley in there as true freshman running backs, and Travis Stevens, like everybody forgot about me. And Travis Stevens has like the record for most yards in a season and so forth for Tennessee, and he was the third string back behind Jamal Lewis and Travis.
Was All-American.
Was an All-American.
Led the SEC in rushing.
Yep.
Yeah, exactly. And was the reason why Tennessee finally
Should
got that
have won the
monkey
Doak
off
Walker
their
that
back.
year.
He should have.
He got the monkey off of his back, Tennessee, to finally beat Florida in the swamp and Steve Spurrier. We didn't know
I think I told you guys this though, but I played with Travis in middle school. So his dad and my dad were both stationed at Fort Campbell.
Okay.
And, so we all through middle school, we played in the championship games together. In fact, there's a on Travis's YouTube channel. He's got a thing. He was 44 and I was 44, and there's a couple of plays where we're tackling each other and hitting each other. It's pretty cool.
I love it.
But Travis, man, from the time he was in middle school, elementary school, he was scoring 5-6 touchdowns a game. He's always a dude. So
yeah, for sure. Another guy that stands out to me, Sean Alexander. Mentioned Alabama running backs.
Yeah.
This guy was just the absolute reason why Alabama, as badly coached as they were during that time in the DeBose years, they were in the that's a guy that could have been considered a Heisman because of how important he was to the team. If he's not getting his yards, they're not winning that game. Simple as that.
We haven't mentioned SEC teams who's had a great college career. Darren McFadden.
Yes, we do need to mention Darren McFadden. So, yeah, absolutely. So
he's either a 2 or a 3-time Doak Walker winner.
Mm-hmm.
So if that tells you anything, he probably should have won the Heisman as well and kind of got robbed.
Yeah,
but he was also in that same backfield with Felix Jones.
Yeah,
Ellis.
Yeah,
I mean, so they were raw, man.
Yeah,
they're actually the ones that started the Wildcat too. That's where the whole Wildcat thing came from because they were using those 3 in that deal.
And Auburn really used it with Cadillac Williams and
Ronnie Brown
and Brandon Jacobs. I mean, that Auburn running back stable was unbleable. I
don't remember what the guy's name was, but they had a white kid.
Yeah, I know what his name was.
I'll pull it up. Let's see.
Yeah,
that was also with that group of 3 guys.
Do you know why I remember him? Because he was a pain in the ass when Tennessee played him. All 3 years.
That's how it always works.
All three of those games Tennessee lost. They lost in the 2003 game on the road that they shouldn't have. They lost.
Yeah, I was at that game at Auburn.
I was 2004 when game day was here.
Mm-hmm.
We lost, and then we lost the rematch in the SEC championship game. And I really believe that Auburn team should have at least gotten a piece of the national title and should have played USC, in it for a chance. I think they would have given them a better game than Oklahoma did. So yeah, but that's just me.
I'm just going to throw out a couple other college names really quick if I can.
Sure, go ahead. Absolutely. So.
But I loved watching Jerome Bettis with Notre Dame.
Oh, yeah.
He was at Notre Dame, the little wishbone, the power wishbone deal they had. You had Ricky Waters. Those dudes were awesome. And then I think back to Kansas State, had Darren Sproles. And Darren Sproles, man, he was a walk-on. And he's about my size, 5'7". And just a cool dude. So, but
I'll tell you
be
this.
good.
It's interesting. It's interesting that you mentioned Sproles, because Sproles was really the reason that exposed that Oklahoma team that everybody thought was going to win the national title that year, and then they still got in because they were so ranked high. And Nick Saban and LSU just put a clinic on defense in the Sugar Bowl.
That's right.
Saban's first national title. So Darren
Hmm.
Sproles really, was a big time contributor to that Kansas. Great one right there. I'll give you one. And some argue that he should have won the Heisman Trophy over Geno. Marshall Faulk over at San
Marshall Faulk.
Diego
Yep.
State.
Yeah,
I
same.
think
College
so.
was pretty special to watch and so forth. So yeah, I mean, so that's one. Kerry, give me some college ones that we've not named that maybe stand out to you, brother, that you feel were some great ones.
We talked about USC. The running back started with OJ, but the guy after OJ was named Sam Bam Cunningham. And this dude was 1971, 240 pounds. You're a big boy back in 1971. And he ran like he ran like a track sprinter. You get him in the wide open with his frame, it was all over. And then I got to see later, as I got older, Billy Sims out at Oklahoma in that wishbone offense with him being the back end. Got 250 pounds that ran a 4.640 coming right at you, and you have one or two decisions. Either you move over or get knocked over, because he was going to do one or the other. And then another USC tailback I loved was Charles White. He was before Marcus Allen.
Oh
He
yeah.
was the MVP, two-time MVP of the Rose Bowl. Beat Michigan and Ohio State back to back, and one of them helped win a national championship. Split a national championship with Alabama in the late 70s.
Played for the Rams and the pros.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And then one of my favorite combinations of all time was the Pony Express, was Eric Dickerson and Craig James.
How can you forget those two guys?
The only people that stopped them was the NCAA. They were the only ones that could stop them, was the NCAA. Because
I'm surprised that there's never been another death penalty.
They've never survived.
It almost came
death
close
penalty.
to Miami with that Nevin Shapiro scandal. It came close. So
They're just now finally getting over the death penalty.
I'm glad to see SMU back, though.
I am too.
Who cares if y'all paying players? Everybody's been doing it for years.
Yeah.
And I love watching.
It's like steroid era in baseball. Baseball is better with steroids.
Well,
Pay the players and let's enjoy football.
I've got a couple of other running backs that stand out to me as great college running backs. And, Kerry, you just mentioned a dude that was like really huge. I'm going to talk about a guy that was a scat back, and it may not be popular. I know Two-Pair, if he was on here, he'd agree with me. Warwick Dunn for Florida State.
Yes.
I mean, a little guy, but he was tough. And here's the thing. Him and Allstott in that backfield, when it got to the NFL, that was amazing to watch for the Buccaneers, when it transitioned. So, yeah.
Warwick Dunn was like Ron Dane to me, as far as it seemed like he played for 8 years, because he started as a freshman.
He did.
And played all the way through. And Warwick is not a big dude, man. I've been right next to him. My roommate played for the Falcons when he played for the Falcons. And dude, he is not. He's 5'10", but he is really, really small. Like, he's not big. But man, very few human beings can move like he can.
Absolutely.
You know who I wish had stayed at running back and would have been would continue to be a great college running back? Jalen,
Jalen Hurd.
Yeah.
Yeah, he would have been great for pros.
He was 200 yards away from breaking Tennessee's all-time rush record as a junior. Halfway through the season.
Yeah.
And you had Alvin Kamara. That whole team was just completely mismanaged. But he
quit after the Georgia game.
He ran like Eddie George.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And just a little bit more elusiveness. Had he stayed at that position, he would have had a better career, I think. But I think with his high school running and way Butch Jones just mismanaged him, destroyed his career. Because he went from being a huge frame, playing running back, to trying to slim down. His body wasn't prepared to be a receiver. He should have stayed at running back and been used better. But he was an amazing running back here at Tennessee.
The crazy thing to me about him is that it's sad to me, because when the kid was in high school, I mean, I watched a couple of interviews because Cottrell was in school then too.
Mhm.
He was about a year ahead of Cottrell. So we thought we were going to play Beach actually going into the 2014, 13-14 seasons.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And he ended up taking hurt his shoulder or something.
Yeah, they
and-
played him at free safety, that idiot coach
Yeah.
or whatever, and he
And
gets
they-
hurt
That's
in that first
right. I
game.
remember
Yep.
that.
Yep.
But he was all about running back. And I remember going to a spring practice at Tennessee and watching him at running back thinking, man, we're back. Like, this dude is the real deal.
Mhm.
And then a couple of months later, he's not even with the team. And I mean, so I agree with you, man. He's one of the biggest, to me,
What ifs ever?
yeah, what ifs and disappointments. Like,
My cousin was on the team during that time frame,
Yeah.
Austin, and he flat out told me that he went through the Derek Dooley to Butch Jones era.
yeah,
He said Butch Jones, he would rather play for Dooley than Jones, just because of how Jones was as a person and a coach.
Well, and can I throw something out there? Butch Jones single-handedly held it against any Dooley holdovers. I
Yep.
think that if you know how we've talked about you play in the area that you played in, but how everybody just changes teams now and there's no penalty for sitting out, those Dooley
Right.
players should have gone somewhere else and they
Yeah.
maybe would have gotten a fair shot somewhere else, you
Well,
know, and would have been
George
appreciated.
George Bullock, the
got
kicker
so
for
screwed.
West, that was phenomenal. He was
Yep.
at Tennessee,
Great
and
kicker.
Yeah,
Jones would come and harass him weekly, just trying to get him to quit, to give up his scholarship so somebody else could take his scholarship. And I know that personally from stories that I
Mhm.
got from
I've
George
talked to his
himself.
dad.
I've
I've
heard
talked
that-
to his
I've
dad,
heard that
George.
too.
Yeah.
cousin was not allowed to dress for a single away game,
Yeah.
or he got to dress for home games, obviously, but like he never got to experience the away game experience ever.
Exactly. Yep.
He literally gave
ridiculous.
he had one more year of eligibility, and he had we had a family meeting. Everybody's like, "Hey, like, what do you want to do?" He's like, "I'm done." So he ended up taking a position with D1 out in Nashville with Bartholomew, who was running that one out there.
Earl Bartholomew. Yep.
I'm just going to throw this. I'm just going to throw this out there to finish the Bullock story real quick. And Michael Parlardi sucked. I don't care
Oh,
what
he
he
was
was
horrible.
ranked. I mean,
Oh, yeah.
how many big game kicks did that bastard miss? The only one that I think that he actually made that was worth anything was the South Carolina
Yep.
game that
That was
name
it.
got tossed at home.
Oh, the one where we're all sitting in front of the TV, like, please God, make this goddamn kick.
Yes, yes, no, it was terrible. I mean, like, yeah,
He was
and so,
terrible.
and you're telling, and then he throws Bullock a bone on senior day. They're beating the piss out of Vanderbilt or whoever they were playing, and Bullock does get in the UT books as a West kicker, kicking the extra point. Whoopee, you know that should have been
Yeah,
your kicker
exactly.
for 3 years there. He has still longest yard field goal in West history, right, Coach? I mean, in my opinion. So
What a tremendous kicker he was.
Oh,
My
yeah.
God.
Did I-
I'm so curious how West had Colquitts and they weren't kicking.
You know, I had
Well, we got one
Colquitts
that's
at Bearden.
being-
I had the Colquitts at Bearden, and I can
So,
tell you what.
I
We got
would
one that's going to be a punter this year, I think.
Oh, you
So
got
we
one that's going to be a punter? Okay.
Yeah, one of the brothers
Whose
is
son
going to
is
be a
he?
punter. so-
Whose son is he?
Dustin's sons.
Okay.
One of them
That makes
graduated
sense.
already, but one of
I
them
went
is
to
still on.
church with the Colquitts. Their parents were my Sunday school teachers my sophomore year.
Mhm.
So and then my sister dated Britain at one point.
Yeah, I
There you
had
go.
Britton and Dustin at Bearden when I was an officer. I had them both there, and
Yeah.
Yeah.
man, I could watch them kick all day because, jeez, legs they both had. Especially Dustin could kick a. He could kick a mule if he had to kick a mule. He could kick it.
I know too many stories about Britain that I will not share.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I know.
no,
a few-
we'll
I
keep
know
it
a few
PG.
too.
We're not
Yeah.
near anywhere close to Rebels After Dark yet. So,
Unfortunately, I know a few too.
yeah. You know, a couple more guys that I just wanted to mention. Maybe they weren't all-time greats, but they were definitely important to their team in regards to not only the position, definitely could change a game. I'm talking about they take the ball, they're gone. You know, that type of a thing, or the defense just didn't want none. And a guy that stands out, and maybe nobody remembers him, he was a big running back for Texas A&M named Jamar Toombs. And
I remember him.
he just, nobody wanted to tackle him. That was the problem and everything like that. And I almost watched Texas A&M, and they should have upset that Oklahoma team. I mean, he was in that end zone, and all those service guys with their girlfriends, they kept showing him on TV kissing because of every touchdown he kept scoring. So that stood out to me more than anything. Another guy that stands out to me that was probably in Ricky Williams' shadow, but I think a very important to Texas during those years that they were kind of in Oklahoma's shadow, Cedric Benson at Texas, by the way. He was a solid just specimen of a running
Think about
back.
Texas, man. You had him, Priest Holmes, another
Priest
Holmes, Cedric Benson. You had that's a backfield too. But my favorite player, the biggest what if for me is Chuck Webb. Chuck Webb here at UT. Oh my God, could have been one of the great. Could have been one. And Reggie Cobb. That was a great combination. But Chuck Webb had something special. That dude was a home run threat every time he touched the ball, and they were trying to get the ball in his hands so many ways. But if he doesn't tear a knee, that kid could have been one of the all-time greats.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, and to throw out my last favorite one that I like to watch and was definitely played bigger than he was, without a doubt, James Little Man Stewart over in Tennessee. He was fantastic player.
Charlie Gardner.
Charlie Gardner.
One of the fastest guys I've ever seen in my life is Charlie Gardner.
Yep.
That dude could run.
Yeah, and we mentioned the Auburn guys, the Cadillac Brown. Cadillac, Ronnie Brown, Cadillac Williams, Ronnie Brown, and then there's one more running back that really stands out to me. And I'm trying to remember which team he played for, but he was
Stephen Davis.
Yes, who did he play for?
Stephen Davis, Carolina. He played for Carolina.
Yeah.
He almost won a Super Bowl against the Patriots.
That's right. I remember that. So, yeah. Well, let's transition to the pros. Let's talk about the pro backs and so forth, because I did mention that I was going to mention who my favorite running back was, and I would say that he's definitely in the conversation of NFL running backs, and that's got to be Sweetness himself, Mr. Walter Payton. That was my favorite running back of all time. I
fell in love with football watching Walter.
Sweetness. So, yeah, for sure. So, but he stands out to me. And then, of course, I mentioned at the beginning, I think a running back that doesn't get enough credit. And I mean, obviously being a Dolphins fan at the time, he made me pull my hair out. But that's the thing. I, being a fan, can give credit where credit's due. I may not like the team, but I will appreciate and say, damn, he would have looked good in my team's colors. And that's Thurman Thomas of the Bills, by the way. I think that
Thurman Thomas, man. I got to see him play many times. He was awesome.
So, was phenomenal. So,
really brought the all-purpose back into the play. Him and Marshall Faulk brought that all-purpose mentality. They started the all-purpose stuff, and they both of them breaking records, all-purpose yards, running, receiving, incredible. Just
at Oklahoma State, he basically kept Barry not on the bench, but they had to play Barry at fullback.
Yep.
So
can you imagine? I mean, wow, just sick, just absolutely sick. So.
And guess who was a quarterback? Mike Gundy, who's the coach there. He was the quarterback.
Yeah.
Well, our favorite mullet.
Our favorite mullet.
I'm telling you, with his tirades. Yep. Come at me. Come at me.
I'm 40. I'm a man.
I'm a man. Oh, my God.
He was the quarterback. Oh, funny how that works out, doesn't it?
Yeah, it really. And who stands out to you, by the way? I'm going to put some names up there that Larry has shared. Obviously, Eric Dickerson. I mentioned Walter Payton. He does too. Barry Sanders. You got to talk about him. You talk about a running back that was great at both levels, and that's like a category in itself. Honestly, Larry Zonka was mentioned. Larry Zonka was mentioned by you, Coach at Syracuse. Franco Harris. Yep. Absolutely. OJ Butcher Knife Simpson, absolutely. And
you know how to slice that, boy.
Slice and dice.
The juice.
And let me tell you this, LT LT, the pride
Yes.
of Texas Christian University that transitioned to the Chargers. So,
If the
yeah,
glove does not fit, you must acquit.
Quit.
that's right, man.
Adrian Peterson, man, he was another one.
Adrian Peterson, at both levels. At both
Yeah.
levels, he was huge. So, yeah. But Shane, who are some NFL running backs that maybe stand out to you that you just love to watch play, but also really just brought it every Sunday, any given Sunday? So, yeah.
So really, the one that made me fall in love with the running back position NFL wise was Barry Sanders.
Yeah,
All day.
I could see.
I mean, I wish they had to play for Detroit and what his career could have been had he not had to be there.
Mm-hmm. Behind a shitty offensive line.
Oh God.
Yeah.
So for me, it was Barry Sanders, Eddie George, Marshall Faulk are the ones I grew up watching.
Mm-hmm.
But when it comes to like when I started watching highlights and really falling in love with position, Walter Payton, OJ, Jerome Bettis,
the bus,
Dale Sayers. Just like I love the position. Like I can go on for days on like every single running back that you consider the greats because they're all like one that I wish Emmitt Smith had not gone to Arizona to break the record.
No, he broke it in Dallas. He broke it in Dallas. Then he went to Arizona.
That's right. But because that's what his final season there. They took off to Arizona to kind of keep high the stats. I wish he just retired after he broke the record in Dallas. It just felt weird seeing him in Arizona.
Mm-hmm. Best game I ever saw Emmitt Smith play wasn't the Super Bowl. It was in '93 when they had to beat the Giants just to make the playoffs.
Yeah.
And he's running with a separated shoulder and runs for almost 200 yards.
Yeah.
With a separated shoulder.
I remember that. That was on New Year's Day. That was like a New Year's Day game, if I'm not mistaken.
That was New Year's Day.
I remember that. It was my mom's birthday.
I want to say he had a broken rib too.
I think so. I think you're right. You're right about that too.
Let's see. Obviously,
Giants fans still talk about that.
So. Adrian Peterson was amazing in the NFL. Warwick Dunn, LaDainian Tomlinson, Marcus Allen, Edgerrin James, Steven Jackson with the Rams, Fred Taylor.
Does Adrian Peterson still have the all-time record for a game?
I think he does.
Yes, 296.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
296. Jamal's at 295.
That's right.
A player that I loved watching as I was older, Chris Johnson with the Titans.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, CJ.
No, I mean he had that 2,000-yard season.
He was also the NFL's fastest man 2 times.
Yeah, well, he ran 4.28.
Yep.
Yeah, remember they had him race a cheetah. Remember that and so forth in one of those things, and it was funny.
Let's not forget Beast Mode, Marshawn Lynch.
Oh yeah. Larry mentioned him, Marshawn.
Jamal Lewis in both his Ravens and Browns days, which is so weird to me because
Corey
Ravens and the Browns, and it's basically the same franchise at one point.
Yeah. Oh yeah, for sure.
Clinton Portis.
Yeah, Clinton Portis. Yep, for sure.
Miami guy.
Yeah. I'm going to throw a name out there. Yes, he is in the top 5, but I'll tell you this. After he suffered his second torn ACL, the fact that he lasted as long as he did with 2 bad knees, and if anybody ever watched him in mop-up duty for the 2001 Miami Hurricanes, Frank Gore was phenomenal. And realistically brought a legitimacy to the 49ers that I'm glad that, McCaffrey is able to do now, and so forth and everything. But realistically, like Gore really had the 49ers Super Bowl. They came up short, obviously, but I mean, it's just crazy.
1,000 yards.
I'll tell you a story. Sorry to interrupt. I'll tell you a story about Frank Gore. Josh Allen's rookie year in Buffalo as a quarterback. He said Frank Gore taught him more lessons about how to be a professional than anybody. He said the player he is now is because of Frank Gore. That's how much Frank Gore meant to him as a not as a football player, but as a professional. He taught him how to be a professional. Frank Gore is one of the, and a lot of people around the league have said that about Frank Gore, how professional he is and how he teaches the young kids how to be a professional.
Oh yeah,
His word is like gospel.
He overcame a learning disability,
Mhm.
you know, and the fact that his mom passed away because of kidney failure and issues and so forth, and was still able to do some phenomenal things. And you know, he was one of the best running backs in Miami-Dade history. Transitioned to Miami, had a pretty good career despite the knee injuries, and then ends up. You know, I made a comment. Listen, Willis McGahee was built like a freak, had a phenomenal year before the major knee injury against Ohio State. But I've asked the question to Miami fans: if Frank Gore's running behind that line, how many yards does he get? Because Willis finished with about 1,700 and touchdowns. Somebody said Frank Gore would have had over 2,000 yards and probably 35 touchdowns.
How he's not in the Hall of Fame yet is absolutely amazing to me.
Yeah, I'd say the same thing about Reggie Wayne being a wide receiver. You know, different position. But why is Reggie Wayne not in there yet?
Exactly.
I mean, that's crazy to me. So yeah. Who else? Who else, guys? Yeah.
Derrick Henry, hands down. Saquon Barkley.
Saquon. Yeah.
Saquon. Terrell Davis.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, TD all day.
TD.
Coach, before I get to you for your NFL guys that I'd like you to name, there is one running back that I do want to mention at the college level because, again, he played on a team that he was very important to. And what's hilarious enough is that there was another teammate of his on that same team that went on to have a phenomenal NFL career by the name of Cordell Stewart. This guy was the Heisman winner, and unfortunately injuries and life ended it much earlier. Rashaan Salam, I forgot to mention, by the way, is the college greats. 94 Heisman winner, just career. Him and Kajana Carter, just bad luck. They were supposed to be surefire hits in the NFL, and it just didn't happen. You know, bad luck and injuries. And we'll talk about the what if game, but I did want to mention him as a great college running back, Rashaan Salam, and was very important to the University of Colorado and Cordell Stewart in that team. So yeah, but Coach, give me some great NFL running backs that really stand out to you, by the way. So
are we on me?
Yep. Yes, sir.
Oh, okay. Well, first off, I mean, when you think about the NFL, there's 30 with the way passing is today. There's only 32 guys that have ran for 10,000 yards or more. So I think in the future, you're going to see a lot of these 10,000-yard rushers like the Eddie Georges, the Ricky Williams, the Fred Taylors, the Steven Jacksons, those types of guys. I hope they all get in because to me, it's like 500 home runs.
Yeah.
If you hit 10,000 yards, especially in today's game, you're not going to see very many do it. You're going to see Derrick Henry, who is at 11,000 and something now. You had Ezekiel Elliott, who was super close, but probably not going to get it. You might see Saquon, you might see CMC if he stays healthy, but you're just not going to see too many guys in the future because of the way the NFL is hit 10,000. So you've got 32 guys that have hit 10,000. You've had 9 guys that have had a 2,000-yard season. You've had 3 guys who have had a 2,000-yard season with 1,000 rushing, 1,000 receiving. But if I were to go through and name I would name guys right now that are retired. I won't name guys that are playing.
I get it.
But Jim Brown would be my number one. Most of these guys, it's funny, like I want to interject when you guys are saying a lot of guys' names like Marcus Allen and Mike Allstott and all these people that because some of these guys I just met about a week ago and then others I've met in the past.
Wow.
But I did have a chance to meet Jim Brown. Wow. And I had some high school kids with me.
That's awesome.
And the conversation I had with him about high school football and him finding out I was a coach and had kids with me was one of the coolest things that I've ever experienced with an athlete. And but he basically talked to us through these other people that were getting autographs and then ended up taking a picture with us. And which you're not supposed to in those things. You pay money to do that.
Mm.
And in fact, they cut him off right after that. But he was adamant that we were going to get a picture with him. So Jim Brown, man, super. I mean, and you think of all the things he's been through with the civil rights movement, all those things. But man, Jim Brown in 9 years won 3 MVPs and was an 8-time rushing champ. Nobody else even comes close to that. Emmett and Barry have 4. Now Barry could have had more if he cared about it, but that's why Jim Brown would be my number 1 guy, because again, if he had not retired to go to Hollywood, who also he was the first black guy to kiss a white girl on film.
Yep.
In case anybody else is wondering, but Jim Brown, man, super cool guy. I ended up going to Atlanta. He had a top golf thing during the Super Bowl, the last Super Bowl there, and ended up getting to hang out with him there as well. And he's just a super cool dude, man, super cool guy. But Barry Sanders would be my number 2. Anytime somebody 5'8" can do what he does, me being 5'7", I mean, guy had a 40-inch vertical. The things Barry did, I don't think we'll ever see again. But then Walter Payton's sweetness has got to be up there.
Yeah.
Eric Dickerson, one of the, everybody's impressed with Derrick Henry and the big back that he is. But man, Eric Dickerson was like a giant deer. Like in his first 4 or 5 years were nobody will ever probably have as good a 4 or 5 first years. Terrell Davis was very similar to Eric Dickerson. I would throw TD in there. Marshall Faulk, one of the best all-around backs. Adrian Peterson, Emmitt Smith. I think you got to put Emmitt in the conversation because of longevity. Earl Campbell, O.J. Simpson, Marcus Allen. I had the privilege of meeting Marcus Allen a couple weeks ago. Super, super cool guy. Also had the privilege of meeting John Riggins. And when he signed that Redskins helmet back there, and his buddy that was with him was like, hey, just so you know, he's the only white guy with 11,000 yards. So,
and the only white guy that I ever saw that could rock a mullet.
Oh, yes.
I mean, that could rock a mullet, but he had a mohawk. He had a mohawk in the early 70s, which was incredible, man.
He was wearing a Cowboys hat, so he's still a super cool dude, man. But really cool. But when I talk about my favorites today, CMC is my favorite. Then I would throw Derrick Henry in there, and then I'd throw Saquon. I think those 3 guys have battled for who's the best in the league really the last 5 years. And if Saquon and CMC had stayed healthy throughout that whole time, people don't realize how hurt Saquon has gotten too. People call CMC a glass house, but he's going to have a good season.
I think Carolina overly used CMC, and now we're seeing the effects of it because that was the offense after they got rid of Cam. So you're running the ball through him, so the wear and tear came a lot quicker. And the way the running back position is now in the NFL, it's the way the receiver position was back in the earlier years when a lot of us were watching it. It's like, oh, we just reload a receiver real quick. Now you can reload running back because they're a dime a dozen, and they don't get the contracts that they used to get because you get the first contract out of them. It's all right. Let me get the next one.
And as bad as Saquon had it, as bad as CMC had it in Carolina, Saquon had it just as bad with the Giants. He had terrible offensive lines. Terrible.
Going back to college real quick, and then into the pros. Alvin Kamara.
Yeah.
Had he been used appropriately at Tennessee?
Oh, yeah.
His NFL trajectory would be a little bit different, too. But luckily, Bush didn't use him the way he should have. And he's an amazing pro career.
Yeah. Coach, I wanted to ask you something. You know how you were mentioning the 10,000 yards mark or what have you?
Yeah.
A guy that was just 70 yards from that mark, but still had a phenomenal career. And have to respect a guy that kind of calls it quits or whatever. We mentioned Clinton Portis in college. Clinton Portis was pretty amazing to watch in the NFL. 75 yards short Now, I know he did the cross-dressing thing just to get attention. He was like the Dennis Rodman thing
Yeah, I
there
was
at
going to
the
say
end.
it's Robin in the NFL.
Yeah, he was the Dennis Rodman, but damn, he backed it up, and I still think it's unbelievable that Butch Davis did not draft him because of some beef they had. Like really, a lot of people don't realize this, that the reason why Clinton Portis went where he went is because he was really should have gone to the Browns, and Butch Davis didn't take him or what have you, and it was really
Which is
the
crazy.
beginning of the end of Butch Davis, and it's like you recruited this guy. You got him to go to Miami because he grew up a Gator fan up there in that northern Jacksonville area, and Spurrier wanted to make him a DB for damn sake or whatever like that, And then you're not going to take him as an NFL player? Oh, and he just won a national. I mean, you're dumb as hell, man. Honestly, sometimes. So yeah. So, the great Troy Smith is on here, former West Rebel, class of 2001, if I'm not mistaken. So yeah, we said Barry Sanders. Yes, sir, we have. I'll give you guys a couple of names. That Larry mentioned Sean Alexander. I think Sean was a huge player. As special as he was to Alabama, it was Seattle, right? He played for the NFL, so he was a big time. It's like he had to be like one of the first people you took in fantasy back in the day because you knew he was a touchdown maker, and it was about touchdowns. So
he's one of the few MVPs. He was a 2005 MVP.
That's right.
So and now I think CMC deserved it a couple years ago, and I think Saquon should have gotten it last year. But it's just a quarterback league now. They're just not going to give the MVP to a running back, which is kind of sad. But Sean Alexander, man, was really good. But he was an MVP in 2005. He also mentioned, we were talking about some others. I saw some of the other names that he mentioned. He mentioned Corey Dillon, who's so underrated.
Oh, yeah.
He mentioned Terrell Davis. And I don't know if he mentioned
Fred Taylor.
Fred
Taylor was so underrated.
You talk about a player that was good for the Gators, but I mean, he really exploded when he got to the NFL. Like, I mean, there are some guys that just maybe go the opposite, that don't do as well in the NFL. This guy was just incredible.
Here's Maurice Jones-Drew.
I was waiting for somebody to say Maurice Jones-Drew. Yeah.
Pocket Hercules.
I hate him as a Titans fan.
Oh, of course.
He could run the ball.
He could run the ball. Yeah. And that's another guy that was good at UCLA, made a name for himself against USC, got himself drafted, and really did well with the Jaguars, if you think about it. So.
Yeah. And guess what he did in high school? He played for De La Salle, and they ran a split back veer.
That's right.
Yeah. Yep. So for sure.
Split back veer.
Yeah, Troy. Yeah, we've mentioned Slice and Dice, O.J. Simpson. We sure have mentioned him. The Butcher Knife. We damn have mentioned him. So, I do want to transition.
I want Troy's perspective on his college.
Yeah, Troy. If you got great college running backs, NFL, high school, start putting them in the chat. I want you to throw it out there for sure. I do want to transition while we see Troy's picks or what have you. And Larry, if you're still on, I'd love to hear your what ifs. And before we do go to the what ifs, one running back that I still feel it is the biggest crime ever. I don't know what really happened with that. I understand salary cap and so forth. I'm glad he has a bust in Canton, but damn it, if you watched this guy, Edgerrin James.
Yeah.
I mean, my God, and how he wasn't a part of that Super Bowl is a damn crime. It really is. No disrespect to the running back that they did have that was from LSU, but my goodness, I just cannot believe that a talent of Marvin Harrison, Edge, Reggie, and Peyton, they did not get one all together, or at least more than the one that the three got when they.
I was going to say, at least I thought three of them got one.
Yeah, they did. They beat the Bears in that Super Bowl down in Miami, ironically. So yeah, so they did get that one. So and Mike Anderson for the Broncos, he was a pretty after Terrell Davis. After Terrell Davis went down, Mike Anderson really established himself.
I'm curious what TD's full career would have been had he not start losing his vision.
Yeah,
I got another one from Penn State in the early '80s. He ended up in Seattle too. Kurt Warner. Kurt Warner was a
good.
tremendous running back, and if knee injury got him too, he was on his way to over 10,000 yards and probably a bust in Canton as a Hall of Famer, because those early Seattle 80s teams were really good. Should have been a Super Bowl team, but the Raiders got in their way when they were in LA. So yeah.
How about Gerald? How about Gerald Riggs with the Falcons?
Gerald Riggs.
Gerald Riggs. So yes. Yeah.
And then Gerald Riggs Jr. played at Tennessee.
And Travis Henry had some great years with the Bills too. You remember that, Kerry? Yes, he did.
So, yes, I do.
Sure. So,
well, going back to what he's mentioning with the whole Broncos thing, if you think about the Broncos, that offensive line and the scheme was the stretch zone, the outside zone, which everybody's running now.
The Shanahan.
But literally, offense. You had and McCaffrey and the 49ers, they're still doing the same stuff now. But you went from Terrell Davis to Mike Anderson to Orlandis Gary, Clinton Portis, and these guys were all 1,000-yard rushers.
I call it the Shanahan zone because between them and Gary Kubiak, they ran that all the time. The zone, that zone read.
And if Portis stays in Denver, he might have been way more than 10,000 yards.
I think he would have been. I think he would have been in the top 5. I thought Clinton Portis was that good. Was that good?
Yeah. Troy Smith just brings up, do you all remember freaking Natron Means? Yeah, I remember Natron Means. I still remember him trucking Brian Cox when the Dolphins blew that 21 or that 14-0 lead in that playoffs. That was Marino's last really good chance to get that Super Bowl. And the Dolphins defense was hogging in, trying to tackle Natron Means and the Chargers.
Business, man.
Yep. I'm going to go back to mentioning Allstott really quick.
Oh my God. Big Mike Allstott.
Allstott. Freaking man.
He made a run in a playoff game against Washington that was so epic. I think he knocked down 4 guys trucked 4 guys on the way to the end zone to win that game playoff game for Tampa against Washington. One of the most underrated playoff games of all things. That was a physical war, and Allstott's bruising style just showed out in that. He was the best player on that field in the playoff game.
Allstott, him and Ward done.
It's a hell of a backfield, man. I'm telling you. Oh, shoot. Yeah. So let's transition to this topic. And this is one that me and Coach Giles were talking about off camera. What if these guys never get hurt? Now, I'm going to preference this, by the way. It could have been an injury that happened in college. It could have happened an injury in the pros. But it also could have been that they were detrimental to themselves of why they were never the great, even though they had all the tools. I'm going to give you one right off the bat. Ray Rice, he screwed himself with that elevator incident because he was another running back that I thought really made a name for himself, like the Maurice Jones-Drew and Chris Johnson, like that we had just mentioned during this new part of the league not too long ago. But what do you guys think? Who are some guys that stand out? So
I would put Bo in that. Bo Jackson. I mean, I personally think that he should still be in the Hall of Fame just because he's the greatest athlete that we've literally ever seen. But if Bo doesn't hurt his hip and he could have ever been devoted to one or the other, he would have easily been a Hall of Famer, I think, in both. So, but definitely in football, but hurting his hip, I mean, I
remember that too. It was a playoff game against Cincinnati.
Yep. And there's other players like Terrell Davis, his career was cut short. Gale Sayers. Of course, both of those guys you are in the Hall of Fame. And if you look at Gale Sayers' first 4 years against like Bo's first 4 years, it's almost identical numbers. So they were both like super dominant.
The only difference is Bo didn't return kicks. Gale Sayers caught, ran, and returned kicks.
That's true.
For me, it's always going to be Ernie Davis.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
He's a mountain. He was a mountain of a man too.
You know,
Maurice Claret.
Troy mentioned Maurice
Yep.
Claret.
Mm-hmm.
And you know that 30 for 30 of the Youngstown's boys with
Yeah.
him and Jim Tressel,
That was
like
good.
I mean, like I say, I mean, I hate that Fiesta Bowl. That was the worst day of my life as a Miami fan. We still haven't recovered from that game as a Miami fan, or
Oh, the great ripoff.
or university and football team in general. But Maurice Claret, I mean, you know, definitely had all the tools that year. He really did, and
Phenomenal.
so forth. You know, and then Larry writes, if Ricky Williams had stopped smoking that damn weed, he would have been top 5. Absolutely.
Easy.
Absolutely.
And he still should be a Hall of Famer. He's
Yeah,
over,
Yeah.
he's
I
still over,
agree.
he's still over 10,000 yards, and in 11 years, he 2 of those years he didn't really even compile a number. So really, it's 9 years out of his 11 years that he had over 10,000. So
Guys, I just want you to think about this for a second. The Dolphins had him and Ronnie Brown in a backfield and still couldn't win a damn playoff game. I mean,
Yep.
they stink. They are
Yeah.
awful, the damn Dolphins. I'm telling you.
they
Dolphins.
did that was the last time they won the division, though.
Oh, that was. Yeah. So
Yep.
yeah.
That
Yeah.
was.
Thank you, Larry. You took the words right out of my mouth. So, but absolutely. So, but
Bad,
you know,
bad, worst pass interference call in the
Worst.
history of football.
worst.
A
Well,
quick-
and
That should have never happened.
well, you want to know something? You mentioned. I'm going to mention Willis McGahee because you know if he does that gruesome of a knee injury, and many people don't recover from that tear, the ACL, the PCL, the MCL, as well as part of the meniscus, comes back to get drafted by
my
the
Bills.
Bills, sits out, has a very good career, and really does well with the Ravens, and still finished with over 7,500 yards with. You know, I mean, just think if he had 2 good knees. I mean, that's just telling for me. Talk about Willis McGahee. So yeah.
Two things I would mention on this. Going back to Claret really quick, a quick story. My roommate was reading Miami.
Yeah, they got some good weed in Miami.
Apparently
He went
in
from
New
New
Orleans.
Orleans
Now-
to
now
Miami
it's
to New
from
Orleans
New
as well. So I think Ditka and him. I still remember when Ditka drafted him and traded all those picks and had that damn fake dreadlocks. Oh my God! Like only Ditka could get away with that. Somebody would get fired right off the bat. Now, Coach, go ahead with your story though. Go ahead with Claret's story.
Claret, he was just a different, like when he was playing, apparently he was so different than everybody else and really thought he was special. When my roommate Dimitri DeVille played with him at Denver, he was in training camp and was doing well, but for whatever reason, he would go and stretch by himself when the team's stretching. Like he'd be on an opposite field stretching when everybody else was stretching. And there were things that he did that were just weird. That's what Dimitri said, because I was like so curious. I'm like, man, how is Claret going to do? And he's like, man, I don't know if he'll make the team because he's just weird. He's just weird. And
Man.
so he kind of hurt himself even in that respect because he could have done incredible things in Denver's offense.
I
But
agree.
the other guy that I would mention is probably the saddest guy that I would think of that we didn't get to see his full potential would be Robert Edwards.
Yes.
So if Robert
Georgia. Yep.
He has the beach, runs for 1,000 yards for the Patriots, first round draft pick by them, and basically rookie of the year, whatever you want to call it. And then tears the knee, almost loses the leg, and actually came back and.
Because he sliced an artery. He sliced an artery.
They had to have surgery, and like it was nuts. And they told him he would never play again. And then he ended up being Ricky Williams in that 2002 season. He was Ricky's backup. And then he went and played in Canada and had 2 1,000-yard seasons in Canada. And you know how hard it is to have a 1,000-yard season in Canada?
Yeah.
It's crazy. Like if you run for 1,000 yards in Canada, you're going to lead the league in rushing. So he did it twice. But Robert Edwards easily would have been one of the greatest to play the game, I think, had he not. And Jamal Lewis, I think he needs to be in the Hall of Fame
I agree.
as well. But
Super Bowl champion.
Yeah.
Super Bowl champion.
I mean, could you imagine if Jamal doesn't tear either of the knees or whatever like that? I know he had the one in college, had the one in the pros. I think Jamal might have been up there with the 15,000 yards. I mean, easily. So, yeah.
He was a 4-3 guy, a 4-3.
Mm-hmm.
at
As big as he was.
240 pounds.
As big as he was too. That's amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know what it was, but Larry took mine, Kajana Carter, to get hurt in the third play of the preseason game, I mean, it was the curse of the Bengals, man.
Curse of the
really
Bengals.
is.
It still lives.
And there was almost like this thing with Penn State running backs that were very good in college, and then they would get hurt in the pros. Curtis Enos is another guy that comes up to mind. Saquon has been the one that has actually overcome that, and and got rewarded with Super Bowl performance, and I was happy for him in that regard. But man, there was just like this curse of Penn State running backs. But Kajana Carter, it just is a very sad situation. You mentioned Robert Edwards, Gale Sayers, with the knee, and another one that stands out. Jamal Anderson was mentioned. Terrell Davis. These guys' careers could have been phenomenal, even more so. We're still mentioning them. So.
Arian Foster.
You took the next one. Shane, you took the next one. Arian Foster, who had an okay career at Tennessee, but I liked how he was built, and he was built for the pros. And just his back
the
and
injuries took control of him in the NFL, but he was great when he was up.
He was.
For 2 to 3 years, he was probably the best back in the NFL.
Oh yeah,
another fantasy back that was taken first because of touchdowns and trying to win your league. Absolutely, he was.
I got another one that I personally went, and I thought he was been one of the greats. Marcus Lattimore at South Carolina.
Before the bad injury,
before that first bad injury, that kid was on a trajectory that he could have been. He was big. I mean, he's 245. He's 6'4". He could run like a gazelle. That guy could catch the ball out of the backfield. He could run it between the tackles. He had a chance to have a career which would have been unbelievable.
Which I think it is another guy that probably should have either finished first or second in the Heisman.
Agreed.
Early on, and he didn't get the credit that he deserves for being a younger guy.
Steve Spurrier says was one of the 5 best players he ever recruited. And that's saying something because Steve Spurrier's recruited a lot of great players. And he's easily one of the 5 best.
At many different positions. At many different positions. Yeah, you're right.
He said this kid could have been great.
Troy mentioned Marcus Dupree. I will say this one. You laugh, Troy, about saying Booby Miles or whatever, but we are going to talk about high school real quickly here in a second, and I'd love to know who you think were some of the greats that you played up against, being in this area and so forth as well. I did want to mention one because we mentioned Larry Zonka earlier, being at Syracuse, being with the Dolphins and so forth like that. But, the Dolphins during that 70 streak did have a 1-2 combo, and a lot of people forget about old Mercury Morris. And Mercury Morris had the injuries, which led to his drug addiction and pretty much got his career done before he was almost 30, and just think if he had not had the injuries and the drug addiction, he was his own worst enemy. He could have really been up there as maybe a 10,000 or something of that nature. And realistically, the Dolphins have never had great running backs between that era of Zonka and Mercury Morris up until really Ricky Williams. I mean, and Ronnie Brown came along. I mean, that was what always abided Marino, that they could never get a running game. And it's just incredible that they just could not ever have that running game to put them over the top with the quarterback like Marino back then.
True story about Mercury Morris. When I was 12 years old, I listened to him speak as a motivational speaker. He came and spoke at my middle school, and he was absolutely amazing. Told us everything about his life, his drug problems, his injuries, and it moved me so much. He was a great man that he got to talk to us. He talked to us for 45 minutes after the speech and just shared a lot about his life and some of the things that went wrong that he was at fault at, and some of the his injuries and there. He's just a wonderful man. I was honored to listen to him speak and tell me about his life and the mistakes he made and the injuries that happened. And he put everything in the perspective. He said, this is why he did. And he basically was a motivational speaker all the way until he passed away. And he was a great man.
Absolutely. Shane, anybody that stands out that what if guys that if they had never gotten hurt, maybe they were destined for greatness? Because you've mentioned some great ones. Before we go to high school.
I think we've named all the ones that I can think of.
Gotcha. Well, I'm going to go to this. I'm going to go to high school now. And here's the thing about
I
You
was going
can
to
talk
say,
about local guys. Oh, go ahead, Coach. Go ahead.
before you do that, I had one more list that I
Go
wanted
ahead.
to throw out at you guys,
Sure.
and it was
Give me
just
the
the
banner name because I'm going to go on ahead and put it in there. So yeah.
top. I'm just saying the top like all-purpose guys of all time, in my opinion. You have CMC, you have Marshall Falk, you have
Cordell
Roger
Patterson.
Craig.
Roger
Roger
Craig.
Craig we hadn't mentioned.
Give me Cordell Patterson.
Yes,
Oh my God.
he's awesome.
He's a human highlight reel. God.
Ricky Waters, LT,
Yeah.
and then Tiki Barber was also a great.
Yes.
Oh yeah, Tiki. Yeah, yeah. I
Yeah.
mean,
I just wanted to mention him real quick.
University of Virginia, and then really was another guy for the pros. Honestly, so yeah.
Alvin Kamara. I think Alvin Kamara fits that really well because
Kamara will be in that.
it's what to do.
Yep.
Yeah. Okay, I've got one for you guys. Okay, so the guy that got in the Hall of Fame by playing a position you wouldn't think would get in the NFL because of his speed and greatness, and you wonder how mismanagedly, stupidly coached those Miami Hurricane teams were. That maybe the kid doesn't know a playbook, but last I heard, if you create space and get this guy the ball, and he's a video game in itself. USC found the way with Reggie Bush. Why could Miami never do the same for Devin Hester? And Devin Hester, could you imagine lining him up at running back? I mean, maybe it's the speed or so forth, but you pitch it out. I mean, that guy's gone with the speed that he was. I didn't think he was human at times.
Still one of the greatest returners ever in the history of the NFL.
Yeah, agreed.
Yeah. Yep, for sure.
All-purpose Hall. That's a good one. Dion.
Yeah, that is a good one. Dion. Yep, absolutely.
Hey, and Dion even spoke to in this day. He said if it wasn't for Bo Jackson, there wouldn't be him. Mm-hmm. Bo Jackson was the first true sports athlete. He said, I did it because he did it.
That's right.
And Bo was his inspiration. And Dion, him and Bo, my God, the athletes they were incredible.
Yeah. Incredible.
I mean, Dion's the only guy to play in an NFL game and a World Series game in the same day.
That is pretty cool.
That is
pretty damn
That's
cool.
Pretty cool.
So, yeah.
You guys remember Brian Jordan that played for the Falcons and the Braves?
And the Braves.
Yep, I do remember that. So, yeah. Yeah, no, that's really
tremendous
cool. Yeah, I'm glad that you did mention that the top all-purpose guys. No, that was to mention that and so forth, because that's a category all in itself. And if you can do it all, that's quite a feat. I mean that. Going to the high school now. Now here's the thing. I know Larry's down in Louisiana. Larry, if there were some guys in Louisiana that you remember, definitely mention them. I already mentioned some guys that were supposed to be the next big thing that maybe just never transitioned from high school to college. I mentioned the Bo Scarborough. I mentioned Fred Taylor's son, Kelvin Taylor. He was supposed to be a can't miss prospect. One guy that I mentioned last week when we were previewing this was Noel Devine. He was supposed to be this next great thing, and he was a 1-2 punch at West Virginia with Rich Rodriguez, but he had a lot of issues. I mean, he was a father of two by the time he even got to college. I mean, just did not the proper guidance. I mean, Florida State and Notre Dame both offered him when he was a sophomore in high school, and just was supposed to be the next big thing, despite being his size of the 5'7". But he ran a 4.3, 4.2, 8, 40, and again, you get him the ball in space, he's supposed to be gone. But this one of the guys that just had a little bit of success at West Virginia, but not near what they were talking about of being a can't miss prospect. So who are some other guys though at the high school level that stand out to you? Obviously, Troy has mentioned Tommy Winton, who up until Nathan Cottrell came along, he did have the record at West for most rushing yards, being a 4-year player at West and so forth. So, but who are some guys? Obviously, and Troy mentioned Charlie Ward. He chose basketball with the Knicks, but he could have been a player, Heisman Trophy '93 winner and so forth. That could have maybe played in the NFL, obviously, but chose the NBA route. So, yeah, good call there. But talking about high school, who stands out to you in terms of who you watched, Shane or Coach, whoever wants to go? Carrie's taking a second real quick, but who like to talk about in terms of great high school running backs in this area?
We talking all time?
Probably, yeah.
Troy Fleming.
Yeah. Got moved to fullback at Tennessee, so yeah.
But I mean, he held the records for the state for the longest time ever. You got Jalen Hurd. Give me a second. I'll come with the whole list.
Sure, absolutely.
Ralph King from Riverdale. That was what, 99 through 01?
Yeah, Gary Rankin was coaching him before he moved to Alcoa. So yeah, because Gary Rankin was Riverdale's coach back then.
James Stewart from Mo West.
Yep.
Reggie Cobb from back in Rule days.
Yeah.
Leroy Thompson from AE.
Yeah, Leroy Thompson. Yeah.
I coached his son.
Corey Booker from Oak Ridge. Gerald Riggs.
Yep, down in Red Bank. So, yep. I'll mention Sean Bohannon over at Oak Ridge. Was Sean Alexander's backup at Alabama. Just couldn't see the field, but Sean Bohannon was a legend there at Oak Ridge for a few years. So, yeah. Sean Green from Fulton decided to play basketball in college, but was an awesome all-purpose football player. Sean Green from Fulton. So, yeah, speaking of Fulton, I loved watching DeMarcus Fine run the ball. Honestly, he was a hell of a running back for Fulton. So,
how about Dennis Rogan? Dennis Rogan was a stud.
Yes.
Oh, I've heard that forever.
Yep, for sure. So, I got one for you. I don't know if it was the grades or what happened, but he was supposed to go to Tennessee. Dustin Lindsay at Alcoa. Lindsay at Alcoa. Same time as Dennis Rogan was at Fulton, by the way. So played
West
with
high
Brandon
school
Moore.
team beat Dustin Lindsay.
That's true. They did beat Dustin Lindsay. So yeah, Troy DeMarcus Dixon from Central absolutely was a stud. Absolutely can't beat him. Yeah, for sure. So. Another guy stands out to me in that era. Again, played two ways. I got to give dap to anybody that has over 100 tackles on defense, playing linebacker, and does over 1,000. 12 touchdowns in a season. Chris Ernst from Bearden. I mean, he was just a beast of a player back then for Bearden. So yeah.
I'll never forget the first stiff arm I took from Tommy Witten, the safety, the running back. Oh my God, my neck killed me after that one.
I've gone face-to-face mask with Tommy Witten. It hurts. So yeah.
Who was the running back from Bearden that
went to Tennessee?
No, No. He went to Arizona to play safety. His dad was a Tennessee coach.
Oh.
He played against us my junior year, and I just can't remember his name. He was phenomenal. His dad was a big-time coach, coached the Bears.
Huh.
Who's the black guy that coached the Bears?
Oh, my goodness.
Against Tony Dungy.
Let me see.
Why am I thinking Tubby Smith?
Lovey. No. Is it Lovey Smith?
Lovey Smith?
Yeah. Yes, it's Mikhail Smith.
Mikhail Smith, yes. Yeah, Mikhail Smith. And his picture's still on the wall there at Bearden High School, by the way.
He was dude in high school, man. He was really good.
Yep. So
I thought, he played safety and it started at Arizona at safafety. But
Sorry, Kerry, I didn't see you back there. My bad.
Yeah, I was trying to yell Lovey Smith.
Lovey Smith, my bad.
I'm actually friends with this guy, Eric Westmoreland.
Eric Westmoreland.
Yep. Emo, that's my dude.
He was really good.
That's my dude.
I'm glad you mentioned Sean Sanders Farragut when he went to Michigan. The Wolverine, that was his nickname. Played fullback and linebacker. Yep, absolutely. So, yeah, for sure.
I would go through a quick list of people that I, from around here, just the things that I've heard. I would say Reggie Cobb. Of course, I'd throw Nathan in there, Cottrell.
Yeah.
Rogan, Bishop,
Yeah, Deshaun all day.
Case and Jackson.
Oh yeah, Case
Yeah.
and Jackson. That's
I
a
think
name I
he's in
haven't
prison
heard.
now,
Wow.
but
Yeah.
he's not doing good now. But he was really good. Andre Sterling for Farragut.
Yep.
He holds all the records.
Corey Anderson.
And
Ooh,
Corey Anderson was
Farragut.
good.
God,
Leroy
Andre
Thompson.
Sterling was good for Farragut. Yeah, he
Leroy
was.
Thompson.
Andy Hibbett was really good.
Yep.
Hootie, I would throw Hootie in there with anybody. Hootie Henderson.
Yep.
Yeah, Hootie.
Of course,
Leroy
Latham. I
Thompson.
would throw Latham in with Bowers as well.
Yep.
Oh yeah.
And then I would throw Tommy Winton in there. I mean, Tommy, if Tommy could have continued the success from his freshman year, then the record would have been untouched,
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
Leroy Thompson.
What was Tommy's
Leroy,
freshman year?
Played at AE, then went to Penn State.
what now?
I'm trying to remember how many yards Tommy had freshman year. Was it 1,100?
1100
Yeah, he had 1100
yards,
yards.
and he only and realistically he missed that Bearden game, so he didn't even have a full slate of like a full season. And I mean, they had the playoff game, but yeah.
He would have had around 1,300 yards easily.
It's I mean, here's like we have a guy right now, and we had a guy that basically Catholic stole from us that would have played at Farragut last year as a freshman. He would have played. But we have a kid this year, and we have a good senior coming back. We have a really good sophomore, and we have a freshman that's pretty good. And so he'll play. He'll be in the mix. But you have to have something special as a freshman to be able to play. And you have to have a maturity. Now, this kid with us, he's like a 400-meter champion. And when we run 110s, he's beating all the varsity guys right now.
Mm-hmm.
So, but he's special. And it's the same thing with even though Cottrell didn't play a ton as a freshman, you could see when he competed against the older guys, you could see there was something different. Him and Seth Marshall were like that. And so to think about Tommy being able to come in and run for 1,100 yards as a freshman, I mean, it's just rare. Like, you just don't have people that are, it goes back to the same thing when people talk about Jamal Lewis and Al Wilson coming into Tennessee as freshmen, and Jamal's bench pressing 450 and Al's bench pressing 425, and they're 19 years old. Like those types of things are unheard of. So.
Oh, absolutely. I'm going to give you, you talk about like I said, when we had Tommy on, that was a special episode, and he shared a lot of insight of everything. I think what's special is he did it as a freshman, where maybe it didn't, the light bulb didn't click for you. Well, Nathan really didn't get a shot until really the junior year. He had to play defense that sophomore year and all that.
He had to play defense. There was a bunch of fighting between us and
there was
it's a long story, but he should have played as a sophomore.
But you look at somebody like a Braden Latham, and I'd love to have. I know Braden Latham's at Eastern Kentucky, and he's a fan of the show. I want to get him on whenever he's free, because I'd love to hear his story. But you think about this, a great kid.
Mm-hmm.
And if you think about Braden was the fourth string running back. And he was the one that literally just worked harder, stuck it out. One guy, took his ball and went to Oak Ridge because he wasn't happy. Another guy graduated. Another guy took his ball and was never heard from again. And yet it was basically the Braden Latham show, and he really just took it over his junior and then the senior year. I mean, it was magical. And realistically, if it wasn't for Deshaun Bishop, he probably gets the Mr. Football for running back and so forth like that. Honestly, if it wasn't for Deshaun Bishop and his success at Carnes. So
I think what's cool, you made me think of Bowers too, is Bowers plays defensive back his junior year. Oh, yeah. And then they move him to kind of like a Robert Edwards thing at Georgia, because what people don't realize, Robert Edwards was an all SEC defensive back at Georgia. And then when they had the coaching change, they needed a running back, so they moved him to running back. He had never even played running back. And so that's even more amazing when you think about a Robert Edwards type guy. But Bowers was the same type of dude.
I loved Marshawn
When you
Bowers.
lose
Yeah.
from DB, and then all of a sudden he's a stud at running
Great
back.
kid.
Mhm.
Great kid.
Yeah.
A
Oh,
kid that I coached that I wish had got more reps at running back. That would have been special. Kai Ironside out of Bearden.
Kai
Yeah.
Ironside. Yeah.
Kai Ironside. Yep.
Yeah.
Mhm.
I love that kid to death, but man, like he took too many injuries way too quick. But what he could have been as a running back, I mean, they moved him to linebacker. He's like my height, like 5'8", 5'9". But what he could have done at the running back position, he stayed healthy.
Mhm. Special. He was special.
That kid hit me at 10 when he was 10 years old. Hit me and moved me at 215 pounds and like busted my mouth open. I'm like,
Yeah.
Man.
this was at 10.
Do you know what's special about Bowers, Coach, that you mentioned? You know, you think about this. He is like, I don't know how many players can say this or whatever, but he won 2 state championships. You mentioned he played DB, but he was also a wide receiver, and he
Mhm.
scores a touchdown in the 2022 state game as a wide receiver, catches a pass from Ashley Spees' son, and then in the following year in the 2023 game,
From
he
Carson.
scores a champ. Yeah, he scored from Carson. Thank you, Carson Jesse. And then he threw, and then in the 2023 game, he runs in a touchdown. So that's pretty special.
Yep.
2 different positions. You scored a touchdown in 2 different state championship games. I mean,
Great
that's
memories of that 22 game.
Oh
Man.
my God, man! That team was just
We
stacked
blew
for West,
we
honestly.
blew out. Who was it we blew out? Beach or so? Who do we blow out in the 22?
Oh, it was gosh,
I forgot who
Eight?
they were.
Rathbone. They just lost to Sevier
Rathbone.
County. They've lost 4 in a row. Who is
Yeah,
that?
that's right.
Not Beach.
Page.
Yeah.
Page. Yeah,
Page.
Page. Good old
Okay,
Page.
yeah.
So,
I knew
Jelly
it was
Rolls.
one of
Jelly
them.
Jelly Rolls' daughter's school. So yeah. So listen to this. Who's the white kid from West that's in the league now? It was Nathan Cottrell. It was, but he retired. So he's now doing real estate, I believe, down in Atlanta, if I'm not mistaken. So
Yeah, I think he's
him and his wife just there he is.
He's calling me out for my Carnes shirt. Yes, I coach at Carnes, Troy. I'm a middle school JV coach and varsity middle school tight end and DB coach.
Let the record show I've got my Rebels with a Cause shirt on. I just want that to be known. So there we go.
I came straight from practice. Okay, yeah, I have a lot of stuff going on.
Hey, Coach, that picture, was he in Jacksonville?
Yeah.
Was that when he was with Jacksonville?
I think he was
Nathan?
in Jacksonville, right?
He was in Jacksonville, yeah.
And then there's a Cottrell helmet.
Nice.
Yeah.
Nice,
man.
Do you know a story? Coach Giles actually got me a picture of Nathan when he scored the touchdown that actually tied Miami and took the game to overtime, and Georgia Tech upset Miami in Manny Diaz's last year. But what's really interesting is that I have that picture hung up at my new desk or what have you, and it says to James from Nathan Cottrell. And it's like, you know what? I've never been happy to see Miami lose, but I was happy to see Nathan get that touchdown because he was one of my favorite players. Yeah, so for sure.
Awesome.
Didn't he beat Florida? Wasn't he on the team to beat Florida State too when they were number 2?
Yes, he was, and he was actually playing running back because that was still Paul Johnson before they.
I thought so.
Yeah.
Paul Johnson was still the coach. Yeah.
Oh, I'm so glad Troy Smith mentioned Marcus Hamilton and Adrian Hall. Absolutely, Adrian Hall.
I haven't heard those
Marcus
names
Hamilton and Adrian Hall were very special at. They were the 1-2 combo that even got Carnes into the playoffs. They beat Bearden and ended up being a first round pretty much fish bait for Kingsport Dobbins Bennett back then.
That's right.
98. So yeah, true story. Great memory, Troy.
Was Fulkerson the coach, I believe, at Carnes at that time it happened?
I believe he was.
Didn't they beat Dobbins Bennett in the regular season another year?
They did another year.
Yeah,
they did.
They upset. They were number 1 in the state, and Carnes upset them.
Yeah.
Oh, are you talking about Carl Stewart, Troy? Carl Stewart was the running back at Maryville.
Yep.
I remember Carl Stewart. He was
Carl
a beast.
Stewart,
he was a hoss to deal with too.
Yeah. I'll give you guys a name. I mentioned, the running backs that were starting to go to USC, and I was like, well, somebody's got to go somewhere else. And he actually had some success in the NFL, but once upon a time, he was like one of the top running backs in the country in high school. C.J. Spiller.
Yes.
C.J.
He was a Bill. He got drafted by the Bills.
Yep. Yeah, but
Played for Clemson.
he was at Clemson before Clemson
Yep.
started getting all these special guys. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Type of a
Deshaun
thing.
Watson,
So, yeah.
the freak.
He
Deshaun
was a
Watson.
great kick returner too.
Yes, he was.
He
He
was.
was very great, terrific. Kick
Yes,
return.
he was. Yeah, he would be a game changer for Clemson. That if he had some space, he was gone. So yeah, for sure. So let me see here real quick. If there's any other names that stand out to you, I mean, Kerry, you saw some big games over the years,
Devin Young.
being an SRO.
Devin
Devin Young,
Young.
we do
Devin
need to
Young.
mention Devin Young. At
Devin
Beard.
Young was really good.
So, yes,
Devin Young, honestly, closest
John
thing
Henderson, yep.
closest thing that I've seen to a Barry Sanders type
Agreed.
guy.
Yeah.
His senior year though, we were supposed to lose. You know the
my favorite game of all time. So
the paper used to come out and they would give predictions, like they would literally, like for
Jesse
certain games.
Smitty.
Jesse Smitty. That's how he got in. Started with predictions.
So for that game, they picked us to lose by 14 points because of Devin. And so that was kind of when West was kind of coming out of like mediocre to being great teams.
Yep.
And we beat
them
snot out of them.
I remember that.
That kept Devin out of the end zone. He still had 100 yards, but we kept him out of the end zone. And like on special teams, I was like, we're not kicking to him. Like we're not going to kick to him. We're not going to punt to him. We're not going. So we didn't kick to him all night. And we beat them 33-10. We beat the snot out of him.
I remember that game.
And the momentum was taken all the way to the damn coldest night ever, the day after Thanksgiving, to Columbia. You guys basically were playing for a state title the week before.
Yep.
I mean, the actual state
it
title.
was. I can't remember the kid's name anymore, but it was back in, I guess it had been the 02 season.
Beard was good.
San Antonio Beard.
It was at Powell. And like they were averaging 100 to 200 yards a game. Just
Deshaun Mobley.
I can't remember who they were. Powell had just like stable running backs.
Deshaun Mobley was there.
Defensively, we were challenged to hold them to under 100 yards, and we did. Like we got steak dinner out of it.
I remember that was before I came on staff, but I remember the trophy that Scott Cummings had in his office for holding Powell under, like I think y'all held him to like 70 or 80 yards, but
we destroyed their field that night. Like, it rained earlier in the day. It still had a little bit of a downpour in the first half, and we held them to about 70, 80 yards that whole game, and literally like.
And didn't you all lose like 7-3? It was like a real.
It came down to like the last play of the game. Like I literally remember like having tears in my eyes because defensively we busted our ass that whole night.
I listened to that game on radio. It was heartbreaking to hear.
I remember. I can't remember who it was. It was like I was just upset, like because I was playing strong safety at that point because Cummings had already made the switch from like beginning of the year. It was we were playing offensive and defensively. Everybody kind of went everywhere. Then he. Right after the Bearden game, he made a complete change. It's like, all right, your offense, your defense. So I went from playing the wingback behind Michael Courtney and Judd Chandler to I was just playing safety and special teams.
Can you answer me a question, by the way, that I've always been curious about? I heard a rumor that a lot of people really wanted Michael Courtney to be the quarterback that year instead of Alan Wallace. Is that true?
Mike never got reps at quarterback. I would have gone with Justin Jackson.
JJ Jackson. Yeah.
Justin Jackson was good. He was really good.
Did you guys mention Shane Summers? Summers, he played. Shane Summers, he played for Oak Ridge.
Sean Summers.
I remember the name.
Sean Summers. Yeah, okay.
Yeah. No, I remember the name.
He was tremendous too.
Troy's question. That player coming as a head coach. Yeah, he took over my senior year.
Okay.
Yeah.
So right after Rogers took the AD job at Grace, we found out during winter workouts, and then we went probably a few weeks right before spring practice, and they made the announcement that Cummings was taking over.
Yep.
But then it was we weren't sure who all was going to come back after that because there were some kids who just didn't want to play for Cummings.
Justin Jackson was, I thought, a pretty good quarterback.
Yeah, I thought he was too.
I really do. I mean, West was blessed that couple of years that they had J.J. Jackson at quarterback in 2003. I loved DeBrian Venardo. He was man, DeBrian was unbelievable with him, Hootie, and Nate in that backfield. That was a
top.
Yeah. Wasn't his dad like in the air? Something he was he moved around a lot, right, or something.
He moved around a lot, man. His dad was supposed to. The thing I remember about DeBrian was his dad was supposed to come to that last game, his senior night, and he talked about it all week, and then he didn't show up, and DeBrian was just torn up, man.
Oh man,
and it affected him on the field. It cost
against
him.
that damn Halls game. I'll never forget it as long as I live. So,
but it tore him up, which it would have torn me up too if I thought my dad was coming.
My mom only came to 2 games my entire time at West.
Yeah,
wow.
She came to the Jamboree senior year and got mad at me because I didn't buy her tickets for her. And then she came to senior night because it was senior night.
Wow.
I got. My grandpa was at every game. I found him like one day, like we were at Anderson County. I looked up, I was like, I could see his hat. I was like, oh, there's my great daddy.
That's awesome.
Coach, I got 3 running backs that you coached at West that I felt were really kids that had such an impact on the field. Maybe the teams weren't that successful. The record may not show it, but these kids stood out to me because I think you got everything you could get out of them. And I'm going to go in the order that they kind of succeeded each other. TJ Wilson, Jake Klotzbaugh, and Ivan Freeman.
Yeah. All great kids, man.
All great kids.
I remember Ivan Freeman.
TJ ran for 1,000 yards 2 years in a row.
Yep.
He was on the team that probably should have beat Maryville one year. We were up like 21-10. He broke free in the open field and just dropped the ball for but man. TJ, I still can't explain it. One of those things, but that's one of the teams that should have beaten Maryville.
I know that 2007 team, you had them on the ropes there in the black hole, lost a heartbreaker 17-9 or something like that.
Okay, I remember that because I was at Bearden, and 2 weeks later, Bearden beat Maryville, handed them their first Knox County loss in 9 years.
Right.
Yeah, I remember that. I
was at that game. Who was at that game?
I was at that too.
And then who else did you mention? You mentioned TJ. You mentioned
Jake Klotzbaugh, and then Ivan Freeman,
another great guy, another legit 4-3 kid. I mean, Jake, tough as nails, great returner, great little running back. Back in those days, if you remember Fulton would just crush people, and we couldn't get him on the schedule, but we did have him for the Jamboree, and Jake scored 3 times on the same play against Fulton on the Jamboree.
Wow.
So
wow.
But anyways, and those were some good Fulton teams, but it's like, I mean, you just threw the ball to him out of the backfield and he'd kill it. And then Ivan was special, ran for over 1,000 yards as a sophomore and had the school record for a while, and the single season school record, broke it against Hardin Valley. But Ivan was just a good – in fact, the kid that I have that's a sophomore right now, Carter, reminds me – Carter's smaller than Ivan. Ivan was thicker, but he looks like him in the face. Like he looks like Ivan. So
wow.
But
what is his measurements, Coach?
Do what now?
What's his measurements?
Carter is probably Carter or Ivan. You talking about Carter or Ivan?
Yeah, Carter.
Carter reminds you of Ivan. He's probably 5'10".
Okay.
5'10", probably 170 right now. So he's not huge.
It's not small either. So
no.
Yeah.
But he can fly. He can fly, man.
I like them.
He's got some wiggle. See wiggle.
I like that.
So,
A couple of other running backs. I mean, you didn't necessarily coach them, but you coached against them. We mentioned Latham, but the Mattress Brothers really were
mm,
impactful for West. I really felt that they bridged it. But if you're going to talk what if and so forth like that, when it comes to two running backs at West, and you and me have talked about this tremendously off camera. We don't have to get into it, but I always wonder what would have happened in the right system for with Christian Romines and Devontae
mm.
Patrick. Honestly, those two are the what ifs for West in terms
All
of
right.
running back and running that veer offense. So yeah,
I knew
after
Both.
Nate.
Christian. I knew Christian at Bearden Middle when I was an officer there. Christian, I watched him play midgets. He was really really good.
Yeah.
He was really good. Christian was.
Christian tore his ACL, as
Hmm.
did Devontae. I really believe that if we had stayed in the veer, what was Christian's senior year and
Yep,
Devontae's sophomore year,
would have
I
blown
mean,
up.
I think we would have won the state championship again.
I agree.
Um, and and I also think with the right head coach at the time, Devontae had gotten around the wrong people and had made some mistakes. And if he had had the right head coach, I think he would be in a completely different spot right now. And he was definitely a Division One body. I mean, he was 215, 220 pounds as a freshman and was basically the heir apparent to Cottrell, and showed signs of it. I mean, super talented guy, could play any position on the football field, and was that athletic. And unfortunately, had some injuries and had some bad influences. And I'm still good buddies with Devontae on Facebook here and there. I'll talk to him or whatever, but it, he definitely should have should have been a Division One kid, no doubt.
Yeah. Troy, just to answer that question, West's former coach was not asked to come back. He is now, Lamar Brown is now the defensive line coach at Maryville. So your
Hmm.
freaking Maryville comment even means a little bit more. However, West should have a solid season. We have promoted the defensive coordinator to the coaching job, and I really believe he and his staff have done what they can to keep these kids together and have a very, very good season this year. Tough schedule, but we'll definitely be in the conversation. And
Well,
until anybody proves otherwise, 5A still goes through Sutherland
Yeah,
Baptist.
we're
I
gonna
But we
we're
can
gonna
noticed
be in
talk
the
more
conversation.
West is looking for a very offensive-minded coach, according to the TSSAA coaching site.
Yeah.
Well, we had that discussion too, Coach Giles, off camera.
Hmm.
So
Yeah.
yeah, but that's unfortunate that Lamar's over at Maryville, and that's going to be very interesting because that's game 2 for West
Yep.
in Maryville, and he's going to be coaching defensive line. So that's what's going on there.
He's a car salesman out there.
Actually, in a way, I'm glad that game's at Maryville
Yeah,
because the Cena
yeah.
would be at West. That would be
I
emotional,
I
and
think it.
there's just
I
too
think
many things would have been
yeah.
the
And
best thing.
you
That
want to
game
know
is
the
at
sad
Maryville.
part, Carrie? It's funny you mentioned that. Nobody can tell me any different. All the news people are going to be there. Everybody's going to be
Oh,
there
of course
anyway.
they are.
I mean, never mind the fact that you've got 2 top teams in the state in their respective classifications,
The
but then
story
you
is
add
going to be
that to
him.
it, please.
The story is
So
going to be
yeah,
him, and it's not going to be
it
about the
is.
kids.
It's not. No, it's not going to be about the game. Won't matter. West could win, but no,
Maryville
it's going
could
to be
win,
about
and
that.
it's not going to matter. And it's
It's
not
not
going
going
to
to matter.
matter.
It's going to be about that. So absolutely.
Yeah.
So yeah,
I think
yeah.
one of Bearden's players is out there at Maryville now.
Yeah.
Troy Beaufort.
Yeah. Well, what I find really funny, and Coach, you don't have to chime in on this, but I found it very interesting that everything was such a big deal about the whole Bearden playing Alcoa at the Smoky Stadium and so forth like that, and now that's not even on the table anymore and everything like that, and it's just another
Are
game
they still
because you know
playing
what's
each
going to
other,
happen.
or do
They have to. It's in the rotation for 2 years and so forth. But what they did was it's not going to be the TV game anymore, nor is it going to be played at Smoky Stadium.
Man, I've got faith in Coach Taylor out there.
Oh yeah, he's just inheriting a mess. He is just inheriting a mess. So,
I've worked with Brad. Was coach there in 2007, 2008, and he did Brad. I've known Brad for over 30 years because he and my brother played together at Bearden in the early 90s.
I coached his son years ago, back when my daughter first started playing football.
Yeah, he's one of my godsons.
Yeah, and then
he's a good football coach.
And then
yes, he is. It's a good man too. Bearden's gonna be fine.
And his wife taught my daughter and my son at West Hills. So
yep, and she's still there, and she's still there after all these years. So yeah.
My old elementary school.
Last thing before we wrap up, and I really appreciate, Coach, you being as busy as you are right now, and you got an early morning and so forth. Thank you for coming on tonight. We'll finish this up right now. Last running back I want to mention before we call it quits. He was special to cover because I was just starting out my journalism career, and I really enjoyed watching him because I feel he was Nathan Cottrell, nowhere near as fast, important to the team, and literally carried Oak Ridge, him and Revel Coffey, to a state game. They fell short against Ravenwood, but they were the team that beat Murfreesboro Riverdale and snapped their 29-game winning streak. It was Gary Rankin's last game as Riverdale's coach before he took the Alcoa job. But realistically, that was a special team to watch Spencer Gilmeyer run the rock.
Gilmeyer was really good.
He was such a good religious kid, and he owed everything to God. Every time I interviewed him, that was one of the first things he said. It's the glory to God and that he's blessed. And he was just fun to watch when he was running the rock at Oak Ridge. So I wanted to throw out to Spencer Gilmeyer wherever he's at. So, but
I want to answer Troy's question about the Bearden Alcoa game. So Bearden, their head coach, which caused a mass exodus of players.
Yep.
To where they didn't know if they were going to have a full team this year. When summer workouts started, they had 22 players. So basically based off attendance and the way the team would look, it wasn't going to draw what they thought it would draw. And then it's just Bearden's trying to rebuild everything they've got going on. And Alcoa is just the Alcoa powerhouse that it is. So you don't want to get completely dismantled on local television on probably the biggest stage in the area.
Coach, real quick, Troy wanted to know, has camp started yet?
Camps for most people started this week. We'll have 2 days next week where we have 2-a-days. So most people will have some 2-a-days of some sort next week. But camp is officially underway. So.
I miss traveling for camp.
Yeah,
I know. I remember the old days. You would go out of state. Most teams, I remember, would go out of state for camp.
Now it's a liability. Nobody wants that liability. Troy, you would have never drowned in the Ocoee or what have you if it happened now. You would have never lost them short. So that's the thing. So yeah. Real quick, Anderson County's new nickname. Here's my mic drop: is the Anderson County Bulldogs, because I feel the whole team transferred either there or Catholic. But
they got Jason Thompson.
And that one quarterback that they took, what's their names as well? So goodness gracious,
rumor has it they're having a hard time. Some of them are having a hard time getting eligible. That's all I know.
I hate it for them. I really do.
That's what I've heard too.
Shoot. Yeah, but
that's what I've heard.
The mass X. I only know how some of these kids they left Bearden and can't even go play anywhere, because I remember you had to sit out, and I was working.
Yeah, I remember some times at LMU and at Hiwassee, and he's talking about camp. Man, as a coach, I hated it. Mm-hmm. As a player, I was okay with Lincoln Memorial. But
y'all
pizza at night.
James, you remember Big Joe Slack?
I remember Big Joe Slack, so yeah.
So I have a funny camp story real quick. Let's go to talking camp.
All right.
When we were up at LMU, me and Justin Batista we shared a room. Joe comes in our room, picks me up, puts me over his back, and slams me on those LMU bets.
Like a Samoan, like a Samoan drop or what have you, like that.
I'm not beating a 400-pound kid. Like it's not happening. I don't care how much I win. It wasn't happening. He grabbed me. Boom.
That's the thing about Big Joe. He was like, I remember he'd do this like, and I was like, no, I don't want that, man. I don't want that sack of lunch. No way. So
I don't remember what year it was, but we were running the bike trail going towards Tyson Park. And somehow he actually got up to speed running. We're like, Joe can run this fast? What the?
Yeah. And him and Preston were
fantastic
as defensive tackles. So.
Joe was probably about 6'2", 6'3", 400 something pounds.
Easily, he was easily 380 to 400
The
pounds.
funniest thing I remember though was they had this old Cadillac that his family had, and the whole family was big.
And they
you
all
saw them driving down Middlebrook or Sutherland, that thing was dropped to the ground.
Did it look like a clown car?
No, listen, it was a cooler version of the O'Doyles from Billy Madison. It really was, man. They were all crammed in there. So, hey, who rules the slacks, baby? Don't mess with them. So, yeah.
That thing was touching the ground.
Oh, my God.
It was. Oh, dude, it was. And they were all crammed in there.
Joe, though. Joe was the coolest kid ever. But, man, when he did that to me, I was like, dude, what the But he broke my fucking bed.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. So, yeah. Guys, great show. And I know we want to get everybody out of here and so forth. But I think that we've talked some great names. And Coach, I wish you so much success this year for Farragut. I hope you guys win that region, get far in the playoffs, and who knows, maybe add another state title to the one that you have from 5A and 6A. That'd be pretty special that you could get another ring. Cool. So. Yeah, for sure. So, but guys, thank you again for being on. And we're going to do a regular show next week, but I would like to do a fantasy football show before we get really started. And next week, I'm going to announce some big things coming up with the show. Of live shows from scrimmages. I got to get approval for that, but we'll see what happens and so forth. But thank you, Coach, again for taking the time to being on. Carrie, Shane, and as always, guys, remember it's always rebels with a cause, and that cause don't stop when the clock hits 0. So throw them dubs up or throw whatever up. Great football season. It's almost here, guys. Just got to survive a couple more weeks. Peace.